Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Aches, Pains, and Gains podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Thomas. Over there, I got my boy.
Dan the man coming at you.
And we're back. Happy New Year, I guess, hey?
Yeah.
We took a month off.
Yeah.
A little unintentional, I think. But it just wound up happening that way. We wanted to record. Life got busy. But honestly, it's for the best. We're back. We're feeling refreshed. A lot has happened since the last episode that we recorded. Danny got engaged.
Yep.
So congrats, dude. That's
Thank you.
exciting.
Yep.
How'd it go?
It was good.
She said yes.
I knew it was going to be a yes, thinking about it, but the whole thing went off without a hitch. I was originally going to plan out this whole elaborate thing with you
Taking photos
and stuff, but it was just too dark, and so I was just like, okay, screw it. We'll just go on our normal nightly walk that we always go on.
Mm-hmm.
So it did catch her by surprise because she had no idea because it was so in routine.
Yeah, and she was a little upset going into it.
I really made, I did a really good job unintentionally of making her cranky before the walk.
Yeah.
And then boom, pop the question and tears. So
When I proposed to Shay, she was in not the best mood. We just
Yeah.
hiked up a large waterfall in
Yeah.
Iceland, so it changes the mood pretty quick.
Yeah.
But well, I'm glad. And your guys' wedding is going to be in February of 25, right?
February 1st, 25, we have date scheduled, the hall
Yeah.
booked,
Yeah.
catering booked. We're finishing off with we just booked photos, and the last big expense, I guess, is DJ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. It's like a big rush at the start because you got to book these things 2 years in advance, right? Almost.
Well, bro, the next day, her and her mom had half this shit planned already. Things booked. They already have the dress.
Yep.
Everything was quick.
Yeah.
So,
Bada bing, bada boom.
yeah.
Well, and then you do all this rushing to get all that stuff done and booked because you got to book it a fair ways out. It takes 6 to 8 months to get a wedding dress in too, right? So you just hurry and then you just wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in that waiting phase
You're in the
because
waiting?
me and my fiance Shay we're getting married this summer in August. So now we're just kind of waiting. We got to finish up our invites and stuff like that now that we have our itinerary all set up. But that's not the topic of today's podcast.
Hold up. What's
though.
your guest list at?
Around 200, I think, people. Why? What's yours gonna be at?
Well, we started off with okay, let's just go through everybody who we can think of, and then we'll whittle it down.
Yeah.
And we started off with it was 290 some people.
Holy.
We've went through multiple rounds of cutting people.
Yeah. The purge.
And we're only down to 260 some.
Oh yeah. That's a
But
big one.
with that, there are a lot of unknown plus ones. We gave everyone we think would have a plus one.
Yeah.
So at worst, it'll be 260 something. But if nobody brings a plus one, then it's 230.
Yeah.
So I'm anywhere between 230 and 260 is where we'll be.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fucking big.
Yeah.
That's a big list, man.
It's tough to whittle through it too.
And that's the thing. I'm
You feel bad.
I can't justify cutting some
certain people.
Yeah, and
I think those people know people. And, you know what I mean? There's all these webbings of interconnectedness and
Yeah.
stuff. Another good way to kind of bridge that gap though is actually just inviting certain people to the dance and not the reception.
Well, that's what people have also said is you don't have to get them supper. You don't have to come to that. So
Yeah.
they can just come to the reception after. So
which is a good
the dance.
good
Yeah,
way to kind of split it too.
exactly.
But yeah, do you want to kind of tell people what we're going to be talking about today?
Well, today we are going to be going through.
Just get your mouth back on that mic.
Sorry.
Try and point it a little more towards you.
Yes.
A little bumping.
We're going to be going through finding your why and what that kind of all entails.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because we've been lifting for a few years.
Yep.
How many?
And with the new year, you're going to see a lot of people, new individuals coming to the gym, wanting to train and maybe stepping into powerlifting or whatever endeavor. And with that, you'll see a lot of people who haven't ever stepped into a gym. And so you'll see a lot of New Year's resolutioners, that kind of thing. And they're going to be there. So
Yeah. How long have you been lifting?
So I've been lifting. I started lifting in grade 9, so I would have been
14,
14, 13 or
15.
something.
Yeah.
And like from grade 9 to like grade 11, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
You just go to the gym and curls and whatever, and
Little bench press.
the teachers, I'm sure they were like, they all meant good, but like knowing what we know now and seeing what they were like teaching us,
Yep.
they didn't fucking know anything either, man.
Yeah.
In terms of lifting, like regarding sports and like the sports performance of like say wrestling or like football or that, yeah, they know their stuff. But like when it came to like the strength training or like the conditioning, the actual weights,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, a lot of the conditioning stuff felt like, I don't know, they just like kind of working into the ground and they just keep doing
Yeah.
that too, which
Yeah.
is like, it can work, but your recovery is also a limited resource. It's finite, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But before we dive into all that, Daniel, why don't you tell me a little bit about your aches, pains, and gains
Oh.
lately?
Brother. Actually, training, it's starting to pick up again. We're going into Westerns again. In March. So it'll be the biggest Westerns I think ever. There's like what 480
A lot
people
of
signed
athletes.
up. That
Yeah.
is a big meet, a big regional meet. And that I'm like 90% sure that is due to Bryce Krawchuk putting out that call out.
Oh yeah,
like,
for
let's
the,
make
for the 120s.
like Western Nationals is whatever he was calling
Yeah,
it.
so like let's all show up to the same place and compete together versus like if you compete for like in the Easterns that happen after Westerns, then
Yeah.
you have a leg up.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to jostle for position.
Exactly. And if I think Easterns is last.
I think so. And then Central.
So they'll essentially know what they need to beat, which I mean, that doesn't mean anything if you can't get there.
Yeah.
But if you're strong enough, you just know what you need to do, and there's no actual competition there.
Yeah, we have
for
more,
you.
and you have more time too, right? Which is like
exactly, yeah.
not a ton, but like, hey, like that could make a difference, right?
So anyway, yeah. So training for that is going good, and what ended up happening is for the 83 class, all the big dogs are going. You have Adam Jansen, Nick Manders, Calf Hatsuyame, and well, they're the top 3, and they're all going.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say they're in a league ahead of me, but they're
pretty strong.
They're fucking strong. And so my goal for this meet is to take a run at the national squat record again, because right now it's like 295.5.
Yeah, someone took it from you, right?
Yeah, I had it in 21 and I had 285. And then Kyle Graham took it, I think, later that year with 295. And then I think he chipped it again, 295 and a half, I think. Anyway, I think we can take a run at it. And then after that, like, regardless how it goes, I just want to finish the meet going 3 for 3 in bench, 3 for 3 in deadlifts, build the total. Whatever we can do to give myself the best opportunity to go to make a national team and go to North Americans this year. That's what I want to do.
Or North Americans in 25.
No,
or you want this year?
This year, 24.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so that's what they're doing with the regional events. They're using them
as your
because nationals is after Worlds this year.
And all the international events.
And all exactly. So they have to use the regional events to decide. And so that's why Bryce, if you don't know, that's why Bryce made this call out for everyone to do Westerns. Anyway, training has picked up since after the holidays, because I'm sure you're aware, after the holidays, you kind of get that like, fuck, you're full of cheese and meat and you're like perma bloated. I'm still like
recovering
a little heavy from the holidays, but I have been the lightest. I weighed in the lightest this morning since that. So we're trending in the right direction. Strength is coming back. Not that I don't know if I lost any, but things just feel better.
Yeah.
Now. So
feel a little more specific.
Exactly. So, and I've been playing around with, no wrist wraps on bench press.
Oh yeah, you like it so far?
I really do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Couldn't tell you why.
Better. Sometimes it is good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, no, we're doing good.
Nice. Body's feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I have no No little injuries, no nothing.
Nice. It's
I
always
might
nice.
switch. I might switch to mixed grip again for deadlifts.
Yeah, hook grip is kind of bugging your hand still.
My thumbs.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I don't know what it was yesterday, but I was struggling
Yeah.
yesterday. I didn't miss a rep, but like my thumbs, everything was like 10 RPE,
Oh,
but
yeah.
just off my thumbs.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. I fucking did a set mixed grip and it flew. So
Have you tried letting your thumbnail grow out a little bit?
and
I've heard that helps.
really?
Yeah. Because like the skin underneath your thumbnail is like pretty sensitive and like it's not as, I don't know, secure, tough.
Maybe that's the.
Yeah, I was just looking at you.
Well,
You
what's-
gestured with your hand there, and I
Sorry.
saw your thumbnail.
Yeah, no,
And I
I
was like-
I just cut him.
Well, yeah, I was
like a
gonna
couple
say
days
like
ago.
you might want to keep them a little longer.
That's like one of my pet peeves is like
Long-
having long nails
Yeah,
and then like seeing people with like dirty long nails.
yeah, you gotta clean them if you're gonna have them. I think
Yes.
you know.
Well, yeah. Anyway, it's good. I'll have to let my thumb grow out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I have noticed that like when I cut my nails, it fucking hurts the next day.
Yeah.
Like if I do hook grip the
All
next day,
that checks out.
that checks out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy,
What's up?
sorry, did I get too loud there? I'm
No, I
looking
don't
at
think
the-
you.
No, I
No,
was
you
good.
didn't. You didn't clip. I don't
No,
think.
okay.
I think you're good.
Thomas, tell me about your aches, pains, and your gains, brother.
Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Yeah, aches, pains, and gains. It's been something, man. It's been something. I'm going through it right now. So I started with the new year. I started my placement at the Royal University Hospital here in Saskatoon, and it's a big change of pace. You know what I mean? Like I go from sitting down in class all the time, doing, next to nothing essentially. It's a different kind of stress, and then going into like a full working schedule. While I do really enjoy having like a consistent day-to-day schedule versus school is just a lot less consistent.
What is your schedule? Like times?
8 a.m. to 4 p.m. right now. It's like a standard work day. It's it's like
only 8 hours?
Yeah.
Oh,
8
wow.
hours. Yeah, so it's a work day.
Yeah.
The physios don't really do the actual physios that work there. They're
Oh.
there till 4:30, but
Oh.
they bank that extra 30 minutes for EDOs, earn days off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going in there, it's a new environment. I'm learning a lot every day. I'm on my feet. I'm lifting patients. You know what I mean? Like, so there's like this additional load. I've been walking to the hospital from some number of blocks away, about a kilometer, 1.2 kilometers away every single day. And it's been,
Like you're parking far and
yeah,
you're walking.
parking
I
far and
gotcha.
walking in.
I was
So
like, bro, you're walking there from here? That's
Yeah,
insane.
no. So a low day of steps for me is like now 10,000. And like
Wow.
on average, I'd say it's about 12. And then I have climbed up to like 15,000. So big change from like my 8-ish thousand that
Yeah.
I'd be getting when I was just in school because I was sitting down more. And that 8-ish thousand was sometimes hard to get to because I had to force it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just so I could keep moving. And I find my body feels better the more I move too, right?
Mhm.
To a point. But yeah, so there's been a large increase in like both psychological stress and physical stress. So like my back will wind up getting pretty sore sometimes and tight. Trying to go to the gym after that. I'm overstimulated from work, all the beeping and worrying, and like I'm on the trauma floor, so it's like pretty intense sometimes. Like the
Yeah.
things you see, and like it can be pretty sad too at the same time.
Yeah, if you haven't been in that environment before, like it's super
Yeah,
overstimulating.
very
Because bro,
overstimulating.
there's machines beeping and
Yeah.
people running everywhere. Like it's
Someone like moaning or screaming.
yeah,
like,
it's a pretty stressful environment. But with time, you'll get used to that.
Yeah, I'm settling in now,
Yeah,
and we're already
it's-
halfway through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like training's getting better now because of it. But
Yeah.
I've like with this increase in stress, I've had a bit of a back pain flare up, which honestly, I've had so many back pain flare ups in the past. Like I didn't
Mhm.
think much of it.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of what's called like radiculopathy, or what I think is radiculopathy. I haven't been to a physio yet, but thinking about booking in for sure. Where I'm getting a bit of numbness or tingling going through like my left butt cheek.
Mm.
And sometimes that's caused by irritation to a nerve kind of further up the chain. So yeah, that's kind of been a pain. I'm having trouble squatting and deadlifting because of it, and because it hurts. And I developed like a hesitancy now with those two lifts. And the more I do those and experience pain, the more sensitive I become to those positions. So like in the bottom of the deadlift, when I'm building tension, I don't want to build tension. You know what I mean? My
Mm.
brain is like, stop it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's very hard to override that signal, right? Because it's a protective signal. It can
Yeah.
be useful. In this case, not really, because I don't think I actually, if you listen to one of our other episodes, I don't think I have any like mechanical damage. Like I don't think it's anything new to my body, but I'm just really sensitive to it right now, and it fucking sucks, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I squatted like 150 kilos. I was telling you before we started recording,
Right.
and I don't know, that's like what 60% of my max or so. Like it's not super high. Like it's 60-65%, and usually that moves pretty quick. But man, I could not move it fast. Like that should move really quick,
Yeah.
right? Same thing with deadlifts, similar story. And so the aches and pains lately have not been great.
There's been more aches and pains versus gains.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. One might say, which honestly like ties in pretty good to our like topic du jour. But in terms of like finding your why, and we were talking about like recently too, how we're both feeling kind of burnt out lately and whatnot. So I think a good place to maybe start is how do you keep going when you're feeling burnt out? Like what is it that gets you to the gym? Because like neither of us skip workouts very often, to my
No.
knowledge, right?
I it's not that I skip workouts. I will just
Modify them.
well I'm trying to like I'll just like I don't want to say reschedule it, but I'll swap it for like an easier one.
Oh, you'll move your
Just-
days around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll still go. Like like you said, it's very rare I'll skip something altogether.
Yeah.
Or at least I won't skip the main movements.
Yep.
Because that's what's more important.
Yeah, just prioritize.
I'll pass or I'll move all the accessories to one day by
Mhm.
themselves. And if I got time, I'll just go to the gym and get that done. But yeah, it's very rare. I'll just skip a whole workout altogether.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like going to the gym for the most part, but
Yeah.
lately, like, has not felt that way.
Yeah.
And I'm having a long stretch of that where
Yeah.
I just genuinely don't feel like going to the gym, especially when I come off work and my feet are sore and my
Yep.
back hurts. And I go to the gym and I'm already overstimulated going in.
Yeah.
And then I try and go to the gym, like, right after work, and it's just peak time at the gym. And every single machine and platform and rack are like all taken. And
Yep.
there's so many people in there and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And man, it's like it can be a pretty overwhelming experience
Yeah.
at times, especially like, I don't know, man, like you're in the hospital, like you're moving, like I'm lifting and moving like really sick and injured people.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Right. So to go from that to the other environment, it's been a tough transition, but
I will say though, like when I was a framer, like I did residential framing,
Mhm.
we would have like 12-hour days.
Yeah.
10 or 12-hour days, depending on, how far along we were. It'd be pretty laborious days.
Yeah.
I'd be sore and tired after a day. Go to the gym, and for some reason, some sessions would just be the best session ever.
oh yeah.
I couldn't tell you why, but I would get there feeling like shit, and then I would get to like my top sets, and
Yep.
shit would fly.
That brings up a good point, actually. Something I tell my lifters all the time.
So
is,
like I would sorry not to cut you
No, you
off.
go
but, like,
ahead.
I would just say like don't ever like
don't write yourself off.
don't write yourself off. Yeah,
let
like
go
just
of expectations.
yeah, like
Yeah.
just show up, do what you can, and if it's good, do it. So
Some of my worst days ever, or I would have thought like were my worst days, I still made it to the gym
Yeah.
and had some of my best workouts. I remember the one time I was training in the shred shed by myself, and I had like 2 hours of sleep the night before.
hell yeah.
I showed up there by myself and I did those pin squats. I did like,
Oh, you did 545 for it was like 4 reps.
I think
something?
on pin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Higher pin, but still it was like
Yeah, you never touched anything like that before.
nothing.
I remember
no.
that.
And I literally like, I have seldom even back squatted that number, let alone that day in particular.
Yeah.
I smoked like an all-time PR for reps.
Yeah.
But on pin squat and pausing too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, end of the day, it's like, I always tell people just let go of expectations because you never know what's going to be there on the day. And if you're using something like RPE, we know that you just need to be in a range of like a sufficient stimulus, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be perfect, and it was never designed to be perfect, right? So it's like, one day RPE might give you more weight, and another day it might give you less weight, but it gives you permission to go up when you're feeling good and go down when things are not feeling good.
Yep.
But I usually try not to make those decisions until I actually start touching weight and start warming up, right? Because again, you never really know what the given day kind of will give you, right? You just kind of got you got to take what's there, ride the
man.
wave,
It's good. Ride the wave.
because catch it when it's there, and sometimes you just got to tread water until the next wave comes, right?
Yep.
So I'm waiting for that next wave of motivation. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But some days are good, like better than others too. Like I don't like hate going. You know what I mean? Usually when I wind up going, I feel better after the fact.
Yeah.
And if I would have skipped it, I probably would have felt like pretty guilty.
Yeah.
May not be the healthiest mindset, but gets me there.
Yeah.
I always say 1 set is better than 0 sets. So
True.
if you can just show up and do 1 set, that's still better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
And that's gotten me to the gym on days where I thought I didn't have enough time, but I still was able to finish like a few sets of something, or
Mhm.
like finish maybe just my squats or whatever. And I don't have to do those like later on in the week, right?
Right.
Because you can move your days around and move lifts around and whatnot to kind of be accommodating to your changes like in schedule. But you can only do so much of that before you wind up doing like 4 days of training, of really hard training in a row. And then that's going to go from Thursday to Sunday. And then Monday, you try and get back on track,
Yeah.
but you're still reeling from that fatigue, maybe
Yeah.
that you just accumulated over those 4 days, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's tough.
Anything else you wanted to add on that aspect there?
Um,
I did want to ask, actually. I meant to ask earlier. Do you have any favorite moments from 2023?
Favorite moments in 2023? Oh boy. 23 was a big year for well, are we talking like lifting specifically or just life?
I mean, I guess it could be anything, lifting or life. Give me one of each.
23 was a very big, because I graduated from
PCP.
primary care paramedic program, and that was a huge accomplishment for myself, because like I graduated high school and then it was like a couple years till I even went to fire school.
Yep.
And then another couple years till I got to PCP school. So I was so out of the like student mindset, because I was a truck driver for 3 years.
Yep.
And then I went to school. And so everyone was saying like PCP school is going to be very fast paced, and there's a lot of information to go through. I said, okay, whatever. And the first couple classes were like, this is nothing. And then we got to pharmacology. We had like 5 students drop out.
Oh yeah.
Like it was intense. And I was like, holy. And actually, I'm proud of this. Pharmacology was one of my best classes. So I was like, because I put in a lot of work to stay in. And graduating from that program was a big accomplishment, because I think I graduated with and you'll never hear me brag about marks, but I graduated with, I think, a 90 plus average.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So I was proud of that, and like it just showed that I, put in the work and effort.
How much higher was that average compared to your graduating high school average?
Oh man, and that's the difference between going to school for something that you want to do, versus just like going to school because you have to.
Yeah. Also the maturity aspect.
Well, and
too,
that's
right?
the other, like I had no idea how to study, versus going to PCP school. I got to figure it out. So I found a way. So, but actually a huge help, because I'm not the fastest reader. Like, and I find myself losing track. Like I'll read over the same thing because I'll just like,
you just zone out while you're reading.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done that.
So there was an app called Speechify.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
That reads out to you.
Yep.
And what I would do is I would listen to it and follow along with it. And man, that was a game changer. I literally teared up.
Oh yeah, when you found it?
When I found it and like was going through one chapter, because
Is this free?
There is a free version, but it's like a really monotone.
Oh, there's no.
It's not like a voice.
Yeah.
I did pay for it because you were only limited to like a certain amount of time, whereas if you paid for it, it was unlimited.
Yeah.
And I literally teared up the one night going through one of the chapters, because I was just like, "Fuck, this is so good!" I was so excited, and it totally helped me get through. Because the one night or the one assignment or whatever, it was like go through chapters. I don't know, fucking 33 and 34, bro. That was like 200 and some pages, and I was like, I was just like stressing about it,
Yeah.
and that app really
Helped a lot, hey?
helped a ton. Yeah. So in terms of life, graduating PCP school and that,
Getting engaged is pretty big too.
getting engaged. Yeah, I was gonna bring
Shouldn't
that
forget
up
about
after.
that one.
No,
Yeah.
getting engaged definitely after 13 years. Ugh. Maybe maybe it was a little late, but
Hey, you got there.
we got there. School and money and all that. Like I wanted to propose a long time ago, but then COVID and then
Yeah.
school and then finances. Like, you know, we were living on the edge there for a bit, but we're in a good spot now. And then yeah, after graduation, got a good job, got multiple good jobs, and yeah. In terms of like training, I've hit lots of PRs this year. Like I pulled 290 in the gym that one day. That was huge.
Yep.
And it was like fast. And then I think I squatted 295 at last chance. And bench press, I haven't seen a lot of progress in bench press, man.
Yeah.
I think I hit 315 for 8 reps the one day, but no PR.
It's funny, like it's outside of like our circle, like powerlifting circle.
Yeah.
Like that's insane to people.
Oh yeah.
People would ask you if you're on gear, and then you'd be like, "No, you're an idiot. I'm not on gear." Like,
No.
but yeah, in our circle, it's like when I like my best bench is like 335 now.
Yeah.
Which is like one of my favorite powerlifting moments.
Yeah.
In competition, bench 335 or 336, I think is the
That
conversion.
was at provincials.
Yeah, provincials, and which was a 20 kilo or 40 pound, I think. All
You
time.
did 145?
Yeah, or something like that. Or no, 150. Is it 150? I can't remember.
It would have been
conversion.
152 and a half. That's
Yeah,
336.
152. Yeah, 152 and a half.
152 and a half was 336. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I thought your best before was like 142 and a half.
yeah.
So it might have been a 10 kilo PR.
Yeah, 10 kilo PR.
Huge. That's still big.
Gigantic, 20 something pounds.
Yeah.
On my all time, which was huge. And while squat and deadlift have had their issues with me lately, because I've injured my adductor, I've injured my back, and all these other things, here and there, I've been still able to consistently push my bench. And, after being in the sport for long enough, I've been able to shift my focus from, instead of being like, oh, boo, like, poor me kind of thing, I'm hurt, I can't do anything, I'm broken. I'll just kind of change my mindset to like, be like, okay, well, I can't squat very much right now.
Yeah.
What if I just get really like bigger quads? What if I just put some work in on like the leg press and the quad extension or something? Or and then same with bench. I just put a lot of focus and time into benching.
Yeah.
So
the growth in your like mentality this year.
Yeah.
Huge.
Big. Well, going through injuries, man, like it shapes you for sure.
Yeah.
Changes you in like fundamental ways. Like even like my guy Jake there, right? He had a bit of a nerve issue where his like muscle truly wouldn't contract to the same degree that it once did.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he sent me a video. Hopefully he's okay with me talking about this. I think he would be.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, if not, I'll take down the episode, Jake, if you want. But so he sent me a video of him doing a tricep press down, and he was doing on his affected side first, and he was like fighting with it, and it didn't look like a ton of weight, but I'm not familiar with the cable machine that he was using. I was like, all right, like he's getting some work in. And then like he was fighting, getting the reps done kind of thing. I was like, oh, nice. He goes over to like the non-affected side, and the plate almost flies off the cable machine and moves so fast, right? Like I was like, damn. But yeah, him and I were talking about how like initially off the hop, when you have like a significant injury, you just like, you can't think of anything else other than the injury and how it's affecting you. But then like learning how to work around it and persevere builds a skill set that you cannot program for an athlete. I can't put that in the spreadsheet. You know what I mean? The personal development that comes from those types of things. And training and injury, we've talked before, they're they can't be separated. They're just intrinsically just intertwined.
Yep.
Right? Because everyone will experience aches and pains in life and then in the gym as well. And it's what you do in those times that really creates that growth, right? But yeah. Do you have any other favorite moments, or is that kind of the top? Oh, the Rise meet. That was a big one.
Fuck, that was busy.
But that was your first
that was
time.
really good. I made the mistake of trying to wear too many hats.
Yeah.
That meet.
Coaching, meet directing.
Yeah. because like, and I don't even say I like was a co-director because Russell did most of that stuff.
Yep.
But I wanted to help out and learn, and I did learn a lot, in terms of like setting up the schedule and that. Because like with that many lifters, we should have done 3 sessions, 2 flights each, not 2 sessions, 3 flights each.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, live and learn.
I know, live and learn, and it worked out good.
Everyone was there.
Everybody's
had a great
there.
time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't think we anticipated it actually being as big as it was.
No,
but
it was quite a large local meet.
yeah.
There was 75 lifters, man.
There's kind of a drought for competitions in the summer in
Yes.
Saskatchewan.
Well,
so
this year we for those of you that don't know, I'm on the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association Board of Executives, and and we were going through the competition calendar for 2025.
Yep.
There are to date 1 Rise. Hold on, I'm gonna have to like go through this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provincials.
You mean the 2024
Olympia,
calendar?
2024.
Yeah.
Last chance. There are 8 meets.
Yeah.
This year, not including Westerns, which is coming up.
Yeah, right.
So there are 8 meets this year.
That's a better
That's
number.
a huge.
That's a way better number.
Yes.
Than what we used. It
Yep.
was down to like
There'll be 1.
4.
Yeah,
that 1 year.
there was there was scarce
Kind of
competition.
reeling from COVID a little bit too.
Yeah,
and
it took a
whatnot.
bit for it to come back, but 2 meets in Saskatoon, 2 meets in Regina, 1 in Weyburn.
Yep.
Provincials are in Saskatoon,
And then Moose Jaw.
and then
for
Moose Jaw
Westerns.
for Westerns, and Last Chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So lots of opportunity to compete now.
Bridge City Barbell's growth too over 2023, I think, was
Huge.
pretty big.
Oh yeah.
Pretty significant spike, I would say.
Yeah, we blew up a lot after the Rise meet.
Yeah.
We had a lot of inquiries there.
When did I technically join? Can't remember. Was it 2022?
Wow, no. Well,
Or was it 23? I can't remember.
I think officially it was 2023, start of the year.
Yeah, I think you're right. Right
Yeah.
around. So I've been here almost a year now with Bridge City Barbell.
Ooh. No, it was good. And that's the other thing. Like I want to. Oh, should have added this. What are our goals for 2024?
We can definitely talk about that.
Well, what
I think that's
like,
on the thing.
is it
isn't
on there? I don't.
Yeah,
Think.
New Year's resolutions and goal setting.
Oh.
Tell Danny definitely reads the outline.
I think I just skimmed over it thinking that was just for like I don't know.
That's fucking great.
It didn't compute. Yeah, yeah. No, like for Bridge City Barbell, I want to work on more of the like not admin stuff, but like growing the business,
Yeah.
having more of a presence on social media.
Yep.
And
Maybe bringing on new coach or two or something like
we
that.
definitely need more because I'm almost at capacity here.
Yeah, I'm pretty much at capacity.
You're at capacity.
At least while I'm in school.
And I do not want to do a wait list.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
It's fucking dumb to me. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
who do you think you are? Some kind of celebrity? Like, no, let's relax here. But yeah, I think we need to get more of a bigger staff, I guess.
yeah, increase
Because
your staff.
Dean is good, but he's also busy, and
And he does mostly in person too, right?
he does
Yeah.
in-person stuff. Yes. But yeah, I would like to kind of grow, put more focus on that. If everything goes well at Westerns and we can get that spot on a national team, I do want to do North Americans in Arizona this year. But if not, then I'm gonna take probably a break from powerlifting. I'll still squat, bench, and deadlift, but I just want to do something else.
Just train for a little while.
I just want to train for a bit. Yeah.
Just join jujitsu like every other washed up powerlifter.
Fuck, I'm not washed up.
I'm just
though,
kidding.
bro.
I'm not calling you washed up.
No, I'm trying to convince Amanda to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Man, I would go do and dabble in a little bit of jujitsu.
You think your strength would help a lot?
I think it would contribute less than like what we would think, though.
Do you think your? See, I don't. Maybe I just black out, bro.
I just see red.
I just see red. No. with our like wrestling IQ
I think
and our
having
strength.
a wrestling background makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Because I've done jujitsu before. Like I used to train in the off season along with Muay Thai and whatnot.
Yeah.
Back when I was boxing and wrestling all
Yeah.
at the same time. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't know. It's not as high impact as wrestling.
Well, I know because like when you're wrestling, the moment you're like your back is exposed or you're on your back,
You're scrambling.
it's fucking fight or flight, get
Literally.
off, and like whereas fucking half the sport for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is on your back.
Yeah, you spend time on your back.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to try.
It definitely training for it has a lot more of a chill vibe than
It's not
wrestling.
as fucking grindy, run you
Yeah.
into the
that
ground.
might just be the culture here.
but I think it's
yeah.
the culture as well.
Because I've been to other wrestling or been exposed to other wrestling cultures, whether it's through social media or through friends that have been in the sport for a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's quite a diverse realm of cultures
Oh yeah.
in wrestling. But yeah, overall, I would say that it'd be a lot of fun to dive into something. new
I
like
follow a
that.
lot of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yep.
Bro, they're very similar. I think they're more than intense. They're more intense down there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like,
Uh,
there's a time and a place for intensity. I mean, it's like any strength conditioning thing.
Yeah.
You know, Mike Israetel and who is it, like James Hoffman or something like that? They wrote that book on like MEV, MRV.
how much should I train? That's what the book is
Yeah,
called.
how much should I train, right?
I have it.
Yeah, and so like they came up with those topics to
Yeah.
describe to sport coaches the concept that you have a minimally effective volume, MEV, right? You have a maximal recoverable volume, right? MRV, and then a maximal, is it adaptable volume or something like that?
MEV, MRV, and MAV. So the
Yeah.
maximum adaptable volume.
So yeah, there's these different concepts that essentially I'll just say like there's a certain amount that you need to do. There's a requisite, which is I think a lot lower than people believe,
Oh yeah.
especially in strength training. So that's why one set's better than no sets is what I say.
Yeah.
There's some research out now from Dr. Pack, and it's like the requisite amount you need to maintain strength at the very least and even make slower progress.
Yeah.
May not be optimal, but dropping down to a lower level, it's definitely feasible.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so like, it's an interesting way of, conceptualizing whether like how much recovery you need,
Mhm.
right? And it's going to be different for everyone. It's kind of like one of the main takeaways. And so yeah, there's a time and a place to go insane and be intense, but you can't always be that way. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's everything.
What are your goals for 2024?
My goals for
Are you-
24.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can ask that question.
Well, I'll have a question if you don't answer it.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So goals, I would say, so I kind of structure my goals like differently than like what you would consider like SMART goals. So like SMART stands for specific, measurable,
Yeah.
adjustable, attainable.
I think it's attainable.
Yeah, but there's multiple ones for the A. Then realistic
Specific,
and timely.
measurable, action oriented, isn't it?
Yeah, there's that too. SMART goals, I'm not going to sit here and shout on them for the whole podcast. I hate them.
Why?
I don't think they work.
Really?
I think they're an ineffective way to structure goals. Okay, hear me out. You come to me, you're a client. You're like, I want to squat 300 pounds in, I don't know, 6 weeks. Sure. Okay.
Okay. So you're essentially going to say that you think it doesn't, like, if you don't meet expectations, you failed?
Yeah. So it's like,
Okay.
okay, let's say we get 6 weeks out or done and we're going to test and you squat 295. Did you fail? I would argue no, but
Yes.
based on that framework, you did fail, right?
You just didn't work hard enough?
Yeah,
You
you just-
failed?
You just got to work harder. Don't be a quitter. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the structure of SMART goals, right?
It sets you up for failure.
It
if,
does.
If you don't, I get that. Yeah.
Because they're so outcome focused
Yeah.
instead of the
process.
process,
Yeah.
right? So the process that you developed over 6 weeks to squat 295 is the real win. That's the real progress, right?
Mhm.
That's the kind of thing that'll keep you living happier for longer and stronger. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's the good stuff. That's the good shit.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to like, making your, like, it's okay to have outcome oriented goals. Like there's nothing wrong. What are you looking at? Yeah.
Seeing it for recording.
Yeah. Last time our recording
I'm
stopped partway. I keep checking on it. We're still
Okay,
good.
okay,
We're
you're
still
good,
good.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, what was I saying about, SMART goals originally came from the corporate world of,
Ew.
yeah.
You know,
So
corporate talk.
corporations called it
let's circle back.
specific, measurable, assignable,
Ew.
realistic, and timely.
Oh.
Yeah. So it got shoehorned into fitness and rehab.
Yeah.
They still teach it in physio school.
What is it? What is it in physio school?
They still use SMART. I don't know. The A again is a floating term, but so the way I actually like to structure them is kind of like in a hierarchical type fashion, almost like I would say an inverse pyramid in a way. So at the very top, let's say like my goal is to be healthier. That's like my main goal. That's why I lift in the first place, and it's just convenient that powerlifting provides me an outlet to contribute to me being healthier. Right? Let's say I want to, even further above that, let's say I want to be a well-rounded human. So I think being like physically apt is a part of that.
Yeah.
And that, being like physically healthy is a portion of that. Then you break being physically healthier down into a few more subcomponents. So, again, we're moving down this pyramid, and it's getting more specific as you get lower and lower down the rungs kind of thing. But yeah, so like maybe what does being healthier look like? Let's say I want to focus on my nutrition, my hydration, resistance training, and cardiovascular fitness, right? Okay, so break those all down. What do I do day to day to ensure that I'm meeting those goals? Well, I want to resistance train 3 to 4 times a week. I want to meal prep 1 to 2 times a week to make sure I'm getting, sufficient nutrition. I want to make sure I'm drinking X amount of water per day, and I want to make sure I get over 6,000 steps per day. So all those things kind of feed into those goals, and you can break this down as far as you want to go. But when I'm having issues with any one given goal, I'm more focused on the process than I am the outcome. So maybe my back hurts and I can't squat as much as I would like to build my strength. But you know what I can focus on? My nutrition, my step count, my cardiovascular health, right? Because I will retire from powerlifting one day. As to when that's going to be, like I have no idea. But
I plan on dying under a 600-pound squat when I'm like 85 years old.
I never plan on stopping lifting. I think it's so important. It's good for you too.
Dude, that is lifting. Again.
Go ahead.
Lifting is the fountain of youth.
Yeah, well, it really is, right?
Absolutely is.
Seeing all the people I see in the hospital, and like just seeing such levels of weakness that they can't stand up like off a bed, and some people like.
To quickly interject here, there are a lot of people that have like underlying issues.
Oh yeah, there's
like
underlying illness,
osteoporosis.
And stuff like that. Yeah,
there's tons of things. We're not chirping people.
No, no, but
who are weak, and but I agree with you.
Yeah,
there are so many people. I'm like, man, you can't even. I see people like 40.
Yeah,
30 in their 30s that are just so weak.
Yeah, I've seen like 80. I saw this 90-year-old the other day, just sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
I was like, would you like a walker for home or anything like that? And then she goes, no, I don't think I need that yet. She's 90 years old. She said that to me. I saw her walk.
Bravo.
She walks better than some 70-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like,
I know, it's crazy.
It's just keeping active and whatnot, right? And I've seen 60-year-olds that look worse than that 90-year-old. You know what I mean? So it is a measure of activity. And like, yeah, again, some people are really ill and like sick and like they're recovering from like a 10-day stint in the ICU. Yeah, no duh, they're going to be a little weak. But if you and I wind up in the ICU, knock on wood, for whatever reason, we're going to have a higher level of capacity to begin with, right? So our starting point's going to be higher and we're going to drop away from that. We're going to get weaker. We're going to atrophy and whatnot, but we'll still be better off than if we weren't as strong as we are, right?
Yeah.
Which is the cool thing. It gives you this buffer room, right? Our friend Brandon Wick there, he shares a story quite a bit about having the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a neurological condition where your immune system attacks your nerves and whatnot. It can be lethal. But I remember Brandon telling me that, the doctors were telling him that it's a really good thing that he was as big and as strong as he was coming in, because it makes recovery so much easier, right? And getting walking again so much easier when, a lot of his muscle withered away while he was in the hospital, right? Which it just puts it in perspective, right? I think. And that's actually another reason why I wind up getting to the gym when I'm burnt out too, is seeing those people in the hospital. Like I want to do everything in my power to not wind up in that state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, some things are inevitable. Like, some of these people didn't choose to have the condition that brought them to the hospital, right? And not that I believe obesity and weakness and atrophy and sarcopenia and osteopenia are choices. but your choices do matter to an extent. There's definitely societal things that contribute to those, and like genetic factors as well, especially with disease. But like lifting is one of those things you can choose to do that has such a meaningful impact on everything I just mentioned. Sarcopenia, by the way, is the loss of muscle as you age, and osteopenia is the loss of bone density as you age. So all things that are like quite easily circumvented. Well, you can't fully avoid it, I guess, but slowed down, if not stalled, by lifting. Which is I was a bit of a rant there on like the health aspects.
I have a little thing to add.
Hit me.
When I was during my paramedic practicum, we got called to a elderly woman with epistaxis, so that's a nosebleed.
Yep.
And we get to her place and everything. We get to her room. I introduce myself. Hey, my name's Danny. And she's kind of sitting there, and sorry, Thomas is helping me out here. She's sitting on the edge of her bed, and she's got a couple of bloody tissues around her. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's explaining she just like started having a nosebleed or whatever. And so I just told her to like lean forward, pinch the bridge of your nose, and it stopped like within a minute or so.
Yep.
And I was asking some more information. I asked, how old are you? She goes, I'm 99 years old. And I was like,
holy.
And her, just like the woman you were talking to, sharp as a tack, making jokes with me. And I'm like, so I just quickly like check her pulse, check her blood pressure and everything. It was high, like sky high. So we were taking her in, and I was like, do you need us to bring the stretcher in here, or do you think you can walk out there? And she laughed, and she kind of like, I don't remember what she said, but she said it was something funny. And she's like, oh no, I'll walk out there, essentially. I was like, okay, do you need assistance? She's like, no, I should be okay. But first I got to get dressed. And because she was wearing like a little nightie or something.
Yeah, she's got to get dressed up for the hospital.
Yes, and so she gets up, and I was like, I can grab whatever you need. And she gets up. She's like, no, I'll do it myself, young man. Whatever. And she gets walking. She gets halfway to her dresser. She looks at me and bears down and farts. And she goes, oh, that's better. And then I said, wow, it's incredible how well like
you
move right now. And she says, I walk daily.
Yep.
And I make it a priority.
Yeah.
I said, that is incredible.
Yeah. And
she got dressed, walked out to the stretcher, like no problem at all. 99 years old.
Inspiring, hey?
Insane, man.
Yeah.
So I just had to add that in there.
Yeah, it's I love asking like the 90-year-olds, like the people that are quite old, like what's the secret? Like some of these people don't have a medical history like coming in because like they just haven't touched the medical system until their 90s, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
And like genetics obviously play a huge component of that.
Yeah.
But also like your activity level like seems to like, be very important to that specifically, right? I mean, we could do a whole podcast just listing the benefits of physical activity and lifting and cardio and things like that, right? Whether it's mental health or physical health and whatnot, like it's just truly like an empowering thing that changes your life, right? But I mean, back to what my goals are.
Yeah, so we really went out of left field there. That's fine though.
We're trying to me and Shay, we like set a lot of our goals in congruence with each other. Actually, funny story.
Really?
Shay has always lifted weights, but sporadically comes like in and out, right? And I know a lot of stuff about lifting weights, but I also know a lot about working with people. You cannot force people into doing things that they don't want to do, right? It's a very difficult thing to wrap your head around if you're a new trainer or coach, or if you're just new to fitness in general. You want everyone to experience what you're experiencing.
Yes.
But most of the time you tell someone to do something and they don't want to do it. It's a psychological thing because it removes autonomy from the decision.
Yeah.
And autonomy is key to intrinsic motivation. It's one of the pillars, right? And so Shay's been getting back into the gym with the new year and kind of like setting like a loose resolution around it. And she's been telling me how she's getting stronger. She's like, yeah, I put this weight on the bar and it was so easy. She's like, it was like I was still moving the bar. And then she was like, so I put more on and it was still so easy. And this has been going on for a few weeks now. And you can tell she's kind of getting bit by the bug a little bit.
Yeah.
And like her adherence to like the 3 times frequency that she's trying to, it's like 2 times a week frequency with a flex day kind of thing. So try and get your 3rd day in if you can. she's been killing it because she like wants to go most days,
Yeah.
right? And that builds up that momentum, right? And like that's how it all starts for us. It's so tangible
Yeah.
because you're like, last week I squatted 135. This week I squatted 140. The following week I squatted 145. You know what I mean? It's like I am undeniably getting stronger. And then you tack on the other things of like sleeping better, better stress management, improvements to your mental health, self-empowerment, self-efficacy, taking on the tasks of life and noticing how stairs feel easier for you, right? Like all that kind of stuff. I call it the what did I used to call it my personal training clients, like the fitness cascade, or it's snowballs. It's a snowball effect, right? All of a sudden you start caring about your performance in the gym because you care about the number on the bar and you care about how you feel. So that night you got 5 hours of sleep and you go to the gym and it feels like crap. Then you swap over to sleeping better because you realize that's important. Same with nutrition, same with hydration. And like, it's snowballs, right? It's a snowball effect, right? Anyway, it's been really cool seeing
That's good. That's awesome.
from her. Because I know we want to talk a little bit about like New Year's resolutions and whatnot. So that's one of hers. And
Yeah.
we align ourselves kind of together with our goals, and so we've been meal prepping a lot, right? And so I've been kind of getting hooked on cooking and diving into meal prepping strategies and recipes and figuring out what works best and trying to make that process as frictionless as possible.
Yeah.
Which is important for any goal, any endeavor that you set, right? Is that you're going to experience friction. Figure out how to best minimize any friction you're going to experience, even if that means buying a better knife, so that when you're cutting onions, you're not crying all the time.
That comes in a fucking huge package.
Literally, yeah, the knife. I just bought a knife, a nicer chef's knife.
No.
And it came in a huge package, and the knife's like only 8
He
inches.
said it was a knife, and I asked, was it a fucking sword? Like it's a big box.
You think it was a machete? The box was like literally 4 feet long.
Yeah.
Like
the most bizarre.
and
packaging.
the knife in the box was probably like a foot.
Maybe,
Yeah.
if that.
Yeah. So
Anyway, sorry, I had to bring that up.
But yeah, so yeah, I want to like continue getting good at cooking and
Yeah.
working on it, right? And that aligns itself with my overarching goals, right?
Mhm.
So it's a part of that process, and I'm enjoying the process of learning how to cook better.
Yeah.
And I'm actually finding it quite like satisfying and whatnot.
That's good.
Maybe getting a little hyper fixated on it, but that's a
Oh,
good
God.
fixation
Here
to
we
have.
go.
That's a good fixation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall though, I'm going to finish physio school essentially this year.
You are finishing this year?
Yeah, I will. My last placement finishes in the fall. I will be writing my PCE. I don't remember what that stands for.
Where's your placement in the fall?
I have no idea yet.
When are you at Mackey?
After Feb break. Yeah, so I'm at 6 weeks at RUH, then Feb break, and then 6 weeks at Mackey Physio, which will be really cool.
So, sorry to ask questions.
ahead.
The one at RUH, that's clinical.
Yeah.
The one at Mackey, that's what?
What do you mean, like the type of physio you
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So basically, like for your placements, you have to fill certain buckets, like subdisciplines of physio,
Yeah.
with a certain number of hours, right?
Yes.
So you have to get a certain number of neuro. You have to get a certain number of cardio-respiratory physio. You have to get a certain number of MSK, musculoskeletal physio.
Yeah.
So at Mackey, that's going to be more like private practice MSK.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, I am getting a little bit of MSK, not quite the same way you get in private practice,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of like cardio-resp and neuro type stuff with a little bit of mobility and like taking people for walks and that kind of stuff in the hospital.
Okay.
But on trauma, like there's a lot of broken ribs, so that's like
Yes.
a cardio-resp thing.
Yeah.
Mix that in with a little head trauma from.
So do you have like a competency list you have to track? Or
There's a
terrible.
competency list that I track as well as my instructors, and we kind of like come up with the number at the end usually of how much of each we kind of saw.
You have to, because it's very similar to PCP then, because like we would have to write.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't leave the hospital for a while because you had to do a catheter on a female, correct? Or something like that?
No, I never had to go back for any extra ones, for any extra like time in and anything. But it's it sounds similar to what we had to do, because we had to, like, you go through school, then you go through a clinical, you go through a 5-day clinical tour, and then a 1 week long rural tour, and then like 5 weeks in urban. So like I did mine in Saskatoon, and every patient you deal with, you have to write up a PCR.
Oh yeah.
And then at the very end, you check off the competencies that you did during this interaction. So, yeah, it does sound similar to what we do. And then you take those completed PCRs to the practicum coordinator,
Oh yeah.
and then he confirms them to be actually checked off.
Right.
So, because I've heard stories. Luckily, I only ever had a few removed because of like poor documentation.
Yep.
But I've heard like horror stories from like other classmates that would have like whole like sections removed, and they'd had to go back for like another tour.
Oh boy.
Oh, fucking terrible, man! I hated it.
That'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, and it was terrible because like I would finish a call and immediately I'd be on my phone for like half an hour, fucking filling this shit out.
Yeah, like writing down what you did.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like I just hated it.
We don't quite have to do it like that, but
Yeah.
we do have to document after like almost every patient anyway.
Yeah.
But like that's like that just goes
Where
in
do
their
you
chart.
document it?
In their chart. You know what I mean?
So then, how do they confirm what you did?
that they lead, like trust the clinical instructor to like accurately report that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
How does it get to the clinical instructor?
Like what? Because they're with me the whole time.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotcha.
That's
Okay.
like
I didn't know. I have preceptors.
yeah, your preceptor is
Yeah.
my clinical instructor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Nursing does
Okay.
preceptors too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we call them like CIs or clinical instructors.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's kind of the big goal.
Very cool.
I'm also getting married, so like that's a task in and of itself, right?
Yeah. Who's your best man?
It's I don't know yet. I haven't picked.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding. It's Danny. Danny's my best man. But yeah, so
Yeah. We're so sorry. We got a
plan the bachelor party.
bachelor
We have
party.
two of them. To
My
come up with
brother
now.
is so excited.
Oh, yeah.
For mine.
But
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so overall, I think those are my big goals. Powerlifting wise, like I don't know, man. I'm just trying to maintain my strength throughout school.
Yeah.
It's been very difficult during school.
It's very like when I was in school, it was very hard to like.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to get stronger. Good luck. Like
Yeah.
it was impossible.
Yeah, like my time in the day and like recovery demands and things like that. Like I would say still making progress.
Yeah.
It's just significantly slower.
Yeah.
It's not as blatantly obvious.
Yeah, for sure.
If I had a more consistent schedule that I was desensitized to, you know what I mean? Like versus being really kind of sensitive to the things in the hospital and things and
Yeah.
walking as much as I am, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, those are probably my biggest goals. I would say I'm competing at Westerns too. I'll be
Hell
honest,
yeah.
the last few weeks I've considered dropping out of Westerns almost
Shut
every workout.
your mouth. You're not.
I would still show up to coach, but
Bless you, because we need coaches.
yeah, no. But yeah, I've debated like dropping out a few times just because my body's like absolutely killing me some days. And like when you're hurting, like your brain goes like those darker places. You know what I mean? You're like,
Mhm.
man, this sucks. I'm never gonna get better, and like things like that, right? So, but again, would I
brain-
rather?
the brain fixates on negative.
It does, right? And like,
Yeah.
but like, would I rather experience some pain and be strong, or experience pain and not be strong? You know what I mean? Like, I would way rather be strong and experience pain
Absolutely.
any day, right? So I
Yeah.
continue to lift in whatever capacity that I can,
Yeah.
working around to the best of my abilities. I was going to ask you, when you're experiencing injury or burnout, do you find coaching, like your mentality toward coaching, changes at all?
Like if I'm burnt out from lifting
Yeah, yeah,
and I get burnt out from coaching,
yeah. Like, do they coincide, or do you find like,
I
say you're having a shit few weeks and your athlete's having a great few weeks?
no, I never. I do good enough to like keep them separate and not let the one affect the other.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't say I'm burnt out of like lifting
Yeah, yeah.
because like I'm getting that momentum back again.
Yeah.
I would say I'm more not exhausted, but just like I have a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are prepping for a big meet.
Yeah, which is
So-
like usually more time intensive for you.
It is, and I'm doing my absolute best to
Give them the best possible
give them
service.
the best service, and I know at times communication kind of fumbles.
Yep.
And it's been apparent the last couple of weeks. I had one guy reach out and say, like, "Yo, what's up?" Like,
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, fuck!" And then like on top of that, like on top of coaching, I have that second job in Melfort.
Yeah, the one that
that
like
I'm doing.
actually well, like you're you have 3 jobs though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other two really pay your bills versus coaching, right?
Yes.
So it's like
Yes.
it's a lot of time that you're spreading really thin.
Yeah, and like it's I don't want to say I bit off more than I can chew, but like we're definitely close
Yeah.
to that point, and I'm really tired of like my process still isn't as refined as it should be, and I find myself getting frustrated with myself.
Yep.
Because things are so slow.
Yeah.
And then I get into my head of like, well, if you don't do this, your clients are gonna have a bad service, and then I feel guilty for providing him that way.
Yeah.
And I just want all my athletes to know that I do the very best that I can. Please be patient with me.
I mean, like,
no, I everything's fine.
it's the humanity in coaching too, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like we do our
I'm
best.
human.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
forgive me.
I mean, like people make mistakes, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely like messed up people's programs before, and once we've been around together for a while and stuff, they usually like will self-correct or just be like, "Hey, man, did you mean to put I don't know, pin squat 3 times in the program?" And I was like, "I did not.
No.
Maybe I shouldn't have made that one at midnight."
No.
And
No.
but it happens, right?
Yeah.
And we're human at the end of the day, and our athletes make mistakes too, and we don't necessarily fault people for that, or maybe our athletes like fall off the wagon in terms of their communication too,
Yeah.
right? And so like it goes both ways, and like it's a collaborative type relationship, right?
Yeah.
So it's at the end of the day, like coaches are only human, but like I feel like you do a pretty good job, and I think your athletes like results do speak for themselves too.
Well, everyone's training as of right now is like going really well.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly right.
And so that I see that happening. So I'm like, okay, in my head, fuck, we must be doing something right.
Well,
Because everyone's just blowing up right now.
We've talked about this before, but there's a lot of imposter syndrome when you're coaching, which is kind of what you're describing right there too.
And when I feel this way, that is what I feel like. It's just I feel like, what the fuck am I even doing here?
Yeah.
Like, why are people paying me to do this?
Yeah.
And then I see him like, I see Kelsey pulling 400 pounds for a double, and I'm like, fucking right. That's why we're doing this.
And like, when they like make progress, you kind of you look at the graph or whatever, and their 1RM is trending upward, and you're like, huh, maybe I do know what I'm doing. But sometimes you really feel like you don't, because like everyone can be so vastly different.
Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to those types of things.
Yeah.
But how do we even get on this topic?
I don't remember. You asked me a question. Let me check back.
Oh, yeah, about burnout and whatnot, how it affects coaching.
How it affects? Oh, whether or not my lifting affects.
Yeah, and then vice versa.
Coaching. No. Well, I
Yeah.
just gave you my long-winded answer.
I've definitely felt jealous of athletes.
Really?
I'm just like, fuck, that'd be nice if my back felt good enough to squat right now.
Well, I'll tell you this, and maybe this is just like a narcissistic answer or like
now I'm excited.
a flex on them.
Tell me.
But like, none of my lifters
Can I outlift you?
can outlift me
Yeah.
except for Matt.
Yeah.
But he's 120, so like I don't care. but like, I always say like I want my lifters to be stronger than me.
Yep.
I just set the bar high.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
I was stronger than you at one point in the deadlift.
The deadlift.
Yeah, I was the first athlete to overtake you on
Yes.
something.
And like I would never. I think somebody said like, "Oh, you're just gonna like sabotage my programming."
Yeah, you're gonna
Fuck no!
you're gonna
I would
kneecap
never.
me.
I would never do that.
Yeah. I make that joke all the time
Yeah.
when they start passing me. But honestly, it does feel pretty good. And it is definitely like an ego check when it does happen, right?
It does absolutely.
I mean, we're really competitive people just by nature.
Yeah.
So like ego is always going to be a part of that and a part of us, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, ego's healthy to a certain amount and whatnot. But, at the end of the day, it's like, no, we're not competing against each other. Like I'm working for you kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Like,
I can't remember who there's a quote from somebody, and I say it's from Louis Simmons. And it's like, you don't judge I think it's like judge a coach by its athletes,
yeah.
not the something. I cannot remember. But it was like how many like champions does this coach have, or is this athlete, are his athletes stronger than him kind of thing? I cannot remember exactly, but
Or something like, are the athletes like satisfied or happy? kind of
yes, you look at a lot more of the athletes versus just the coach.
Yeah.
Oh, just because you're strong doesn't make you a good coach.
Yeah.
That might have been it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
You get like a lot of powerlifters that come into the sport and they're just kind of gifted. They'll do one competition, and then in their bio it says DM for coaching.
Fucking load of shit. Oh my God. I hate that,
Not
man.
that you can't coach after a year, but
No, they do. What they do.
Coaching's hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Whoa.
making a program,
providing
that shit's easy.
Providing a valuable service
Yeah.
is not easy.
No, it's not.
And typing up a program
Is not the same as
is
coaching.
not the same as coaching.
Programming is part of coaching, but it's not coaching.
And what happened, and this is what I think happens, is these younger athletes, or not even, it doesn't have to be young athletes. It could be individual, lifters newer to the sport. And they do one meet. They are gifted. They're really strong. And they all of a sudden just copy and paste what either their coach gave them or what they just did.
Yeah.
And they base all of their coaching and programming off of one 12-week block, 12-week training program.
Yeah, that worked for them.
That worked for them. And, well, if it worked for me, it should work for them. So, garbage.
You might get lucky, but like you know what I mean? That's not like good coaching, right?
No.
And then like, it's like, what do you do when that doesn't work, right? Like, it's, I think being a coach is like being really in tune with like the scientific process as well. Like, hypothesize something, test it, and then analyze the results, kind of thing, right? Like,
I would agree, but I would take a less sciencey approach because I don't think you have to be a scientist
no, it's not being
or
a
researcher
scientist.
to be a coach.
No,
Like,
I'm not saying that at all.
That's no the process. Yes,
It's the scientific method. We're
Yes.
using it, right? Because
Yes.
you think that 5x5 is going to work for this athlete. You do it. Did it work? How do you know it worked? And then you got to communicate to the athlete, right? Because the athlete needs to know that it worked too, because that's where you get buy-in as well.
I think the
right?
athlete would know if it worked before you did.
Sometimes though, not always, because I mean,
No, that's actually, I backtrack on that statement because there's a lot of times I've had people be like, I don't know if I'm feeling stronger. And then we look at results.
yeah.
And our E1RM is going up.
Yeah.
We're hitting rep PRs.
Yep.
And that. So, okay, that's a good answer.
Especially when you're more
backtrack.
advanced, right? Like it doesn't, you don't just get stronger.
You
week
won't
to
see
week.
like all-time like load PRs.
Yeah.
Often you'll see subtle like, hey, the last time we hit 500 pounds, it was 8. This week it was a 7 RPE kind of thing.
Or you're doing
gotcha.
like sets that like of 8 reps and your E1RM's trending upward, right?
Yeah.
Like your E1RM may be like statistically lower, but like it's still trending in the right direction, right?
Mhm.
And like you're going to stretch this out over years of training too, right? Like the reality of your E1RM maybe going up every week is not so present when you're more advanced, right? But
Shit's a roller coaster.
yeah, it's more of a roller coaster, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you want to see an upward trend over months and years, I would say, right?
Block to block. at
Yeah,
least.
and like block to block and whatnot. Like those are good ways to kind of at least gauge if something's working.
Yep.
And then there's tons of things that throw noise in there with make it difficult to analyze, which is all part of being a coach because it takes exceptional like communication skills and navigating different personalities, right? Because other people have different ways of communicating or
yeah.
you know, frankly, not communicating at all.
Yeah.
And learning how to navigate all that, right?
And that's the other thing, like you just said it, communicating it all.
Yeah.
There are some of my athletes that do not talk to me.
And like,
I reach out and we do
Yeah.
talk. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that, we just meet on meet day.
yeah. But their
but-
demand for communication is a lot less, right?
Exactly. And that doesn't make it better. That doesn't make it worse.
Yeah.
I'm fairly low maintenance when it comes to communication.
Yep.
Because I'm like with the strength guys.
Yep.
I'll talk with him. I'll talk with Jason every couple of weeks. I don't see the need to check in every week or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
because I've been around long enough, I know what I need
Yeah.
as an athlete. And I understand most of the training. I don't really have any. It's not too complex. So there's not really need for a clarification of anything. So
Yeah. So then if you ever do have the question, like you always just bring it up too, right? And
Yes,
you know
exactly.
that as well.
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where coaching is useful. And then like if you get injured, you like go to your coach and be like, hey, like this happened to me. Like what can we do? How can we work around it? And then you have that coach's experience to rely upon instead of you just facing the world on your own as the darkness sets in on your mental health
Yeah.
and you go, I'm never gonna PR again. You know,
Never.
like
Yeah.
so that's kind of where it's useful to have a coach. But do you have any actually have you ever like snickered people setting New Year's resolutions before? I'll be honest.
Fuck.
I'm not proud of it, but I used to.
Well, everybody, the most cliched answer all the time is like, I gotta get in shape. I gotta go to the gym, right? And a lot of people say that, and I know of a few people that always like we'll be at a family supper or something over Christmas and or the holidays, and they'll always bring it up to me because like I'm the strong guy in the family.
Yeah,
I'm the bodybuilder in the family. No one knows. No one knows what powerlifting is, bro. Yeah. And they say, "Hey, when are we gonna go to the gym, Danny?" And I always say, "Whenever you want to." And they never answer, and I never hear from them.
Yep.
So it's not that I snicker, but they'll say it, and I'll just be like, "Oh yeah." It's like they're maybe they're waiting for me to like, "Oh yeah, we can do this and jump on." Like, you want me to jump on board? No, that's not.
You've probably heard of the stages of behavior change, right? They're in like every personal training certificate.
I feel like I wanted to know it, but spout it off for me.
Here, I'm just pulling it up again. Oh yeah.
Is it like the psychosocial model?
I mean, no, it's more the I can't remember what it's specifically called, but the stages are pre-contemplation, contemplation,
I knew it,
preparation, action, and then maintenance, right?
I knew it.
So usually,
hold on, I just want everyone to know that I didn't know it. I just didn't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay,
but so like when people are like, "Hey, when are we going to the gym?" but they're not actually sincere about it, they're probably more in that contemplative phase, right?
Maybe.
Type of thing. Whereas like preparation is like when you are intending to take action, right? And then action is when you're actually doing the damn thing, and maintenance is when you continue to do the damn thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people in contemplation, like pre-contemplation, like, yeah, you're probably not gonna. They're probably not gonna. But like people that are like, yeah, like, you know, if you're in preparation, like they'd probably be like, okay, does Thursday work for you?
Yeah.
You know, they probably actually like, or when works for you? When are you at the gym? Can I show up at the same time?
Yeah.
You know, people are going to be more into it, right? And like, you know, I used to personal train people, right? So
yeah,
I usually when people come and see you as a personal trainer, they're in that preparation phase / that action phase. These are more of a spectrum. They're not like set categories, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like they're clearly intending to take action, or they have started taking action, but now they want some help, right? But yeah, I will like I said earlier though, I have snickered at people in the past for setting New Year's resolutions. Cause I used to think they were like kind of stupid or that kind of thing when I was younger and more naive. But there's actually good research out there that shows that a good time to set a new routine is around like temporal like landmarks. So like starting something on Monday, right? Like, okay, I'm going to start this new thing.
Diet starts Monday.
Yeah. So I'll start on Monday, right? Because it's, you know, after the weekend, maybe you're a little more rested. And there's actually research that shows as well that people are better at doing this after a period of like a looser routine. So Christmas break, the holidays, you know, people have a looser routine. It's easier to set a new routine after a period like that. So
interesting.
They're not futile. I think where people go wrong, actually, if anyone's ever heard of the Renaissance Periodization podcast, Mike Israetel and who's the other guy again?
Jared Feather?
No, not Jared Feather.
Nick Shaw,
yeah.
The owner.
Those two, they're on the podcast together, and they were talking about New Year's resolutions and stuff. But they're saying that, and I agree, that where people go wrong is setting the bar too high and focusing on outcomes only, not the process, right?
Yeah, they should have set SMART-oriented goals. Just kidding.
So if you want to like go ahead and set a goal to lose 15 pounds, by all means, like have at it. But setting smaller, more digestible goals that get you there is really kind of where like the money is, right? So I'm going to start going to the gym maybe twice a week. I'm also going to start meal prepping once a week. Things like that could make a meaningful impact on your weight if you were choosing to lose 15 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Also, most people when they lose 15 pounds, they don't want to gain it back. So I like, except for maybe if you're cutting weight for a competition or something. But if you're doing that, then you should obviously want to maintain or find ways to maintain what you've achieved, right?
Yeah.
When you get stronger, ideally you don't want to become weaker after you become stronger, right? So finding ways to maintain that, and that it lies all within the process. You learn how to do that. you learn how to remove the friction, like that resistance to a new skill or task
Yeah.
through the process, right? Yeah. So I think people could do a better job. That's probably why people fall off the boat. January is always,
But with that, you like people don't know what they don't know. Like,
yeah, very much so.
you know, they might not have like experience with goal setting.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
might be the first thing they think of, and they're not they're not at fault for
Oh, yeah,
anything.
no, not
but
at all.
they just unwillingly are setting themselves up
For failure.
for failure. So
Because again, like you're gonna lose 15 pounds in whatever 2 months, 3 months, and they lose 12 pounds by the end of it.
yeah,
But they also started resistance training at the same time, but they don't know anything about it. But they gain muscle.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now it's like they think maybe
And that's
they
the
failed.
other. That's the
right?
other thing is people say they want to lose 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about 15 pounds of fat,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Not sheer mass. Because if you lose 15 pounds of just body weight, odds are that's not like just fat. But if you start to resistance train,
Yep.
you build up muscle during that time. So, and you only lose like 10 pounds. Well,
And some people's weight will just stagnate too
Yeah.
because of the inflammatory process of muscle building.
Yep.
Because like when you injure your muscle after lifting acutely, you'll get water intake into your muscles, right? Which will make you heavier, right? But you also, arguably look better, right?
Yeah.
You look stronger. Your muscles are bigger, right?
Yeah.
And they'll grow over time and whatnot. And boom, you look jacked, right?
jacked.
But yeah, so there's actually a family member of mine. I was at a family event recently, and I overheard the conversation. I wasn't directly in it, and I heard them say like that they hired a personal trainer, and they haven't lost a pound yet, and it's been X amount of time or whatever.
How
And, like,
much time did they say?
I can't remember what it was. Yeah,
I haven't lost a pound in like 2 days.
yeah. No, it was longer than that.
Yeah.
But that's something I stayed out of the conversation because it just wasn't the right environment to sit down and be like, okay, well, like, did you know that when you start lifting weights,
Yeah.
like, you're gonna hold on to water and build muscle and whatnot? Like, but like, maybe you got to set other goals around not just like losing weight, but like, why are you losing weight in the first place? Like, why is that important to you?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to look better. Okay, well, like that's fine too. Like, I'm all down for aesthetic goals and whatnot. Like, I coached some people like for those types of things as well. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't find something to like intrinsically tie it to, it's gonna be more difficult for you, right? It's gonna be short lived, I think, right?
Mhm.
Because like you can lose weight for vanity's sake, and there's nothing wrong with doing so, but it might not be as sustainable. Versus, I want to lose weight because I had a heart attack scare, and I recognize that I'm a bit overweight, and I need to fix this,
Mhm.
and it's within my power to do so, right? So that's like totally different scenario and
Yeah.
whatnot, but trying to find something to intrinsically tie it to, like it's like super important, I
Yeah.
think, with any goal versus just putting that number out there, right? Like for my way of goal setting that I talked about earlier, let's say I want to get stronger, and that's part of me being healthier. I could say I want to squat 600 pounds. That could be within there. That's a means to an end to become healthier because I'll be stronger, right? So I can definitely set a more outcome extrinsic goal type thing. But yeah, I
That's
don't know.
good.
It's my 2 cents.
It's good.
You want to add anything to that?
I just want people to know that I am not like a heartless person. Like, if somebody came up to me and asked, like, "Hey, when are we going to the gym?" I'm not just gonna like
laugh them off.
laugh them off.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like thought about how I sounded there, but no, if they're serious, if you're serious about like actually lifting and getting healthier and getting into the gym, by all means, I would help you. But
Yep.
it's just been too many times I've had it where I'll be like, yeah, sure, whenever you want, and
Yep.
then never again. And it seems to
Yeah.
happen every year.
And sometimes people like don't want the onus to be on themselves. That's why they hire personal trainers
Yeah.
too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And coaches and stuff.
Yep.
Because they want that accountability factor.
Yeah,
I had plenty of clients like when I was, working the gym floor still, that was the case.
that is the sorry, I keep cutting you off, man. I thought you said these headphones would help.
Well, I think it does help a little bit to
Yeah.
keep us from talking over each other as much. But
Yeah. That's one of the main reasons why I opted for a coach.
Yeah.
Opted for a coach is accountability.
Yeah.
I got to have somebody, because when I was coaching myself and programming for myself, it was too easy to just like
move around everything.
What the fuck, who programmed this shit? I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna sets of 6.
Yeah. what
Nah,
the
it's
hell?
threes now.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just way too easy, and so I just wanted to be the the athlete be the racehorse with the blinders on.
Yeah.
And just put the work in instead of wearing the coaching hat. So
Especially when you are programming for other people,
yeah.
because you're thinking about that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And when it comes to you, it's so easy to get like paralysis by analysis. And you're just like, man, I don't know what works and what doesn't work anymore. Like, it's hard to be objective with yourself, I think, sometimes
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've both gone between being self-coached and coached as
Mhm.
well. So, like, back and forth, that kind of
And
thing.
I think and I think that clearly I've made more progress with a coach.
Yep.
Not saying you can't make progress without one, but I think having that objective, just here's the workout, let's just do it. I
Yep.
don't want to overthink anything.
Yep.
I can just be the athlete.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Is there anything else you wanted to kind of cover in regards to like goals and resolutions? Or
Oh man, we went in deep.
we did. We've kind of been all over the map. But
That's all right.
that was kind of the intention here, is to our first episode back to be more of a relaxed like conversation, or we can kind of just talk about
Very open ended.
talk about things, the year, talk about what we enjoyed, what we didn't, stuff like that. In terms of like finding your why, we talked about that at the start, and that's
Mhm.
probably going to be the title of the episode. We're talking about kind of like why you lift in the first place.
Mhm.
And there's been a theme of this throughout everything we've almost talked about today, whether it's goal setting or New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing. But finding that why is so incredibly important to being a lifelong lifter. When like I'm experiencing like burnout and things like that, tying it back into the fact that like I want to get on and off the toilet when I'm 80 or 90 years old completely by myself. That's a great why.
Yeah.
Very hard lesson to drive home for younger people, I think. But having been exposed to that now a lot more in the hospital.
Yeah. When you're 19, 20 years old, you're not thinking when you're fucking 80,
you're not
90
thinking
years
about it.
old.
You can't.
No,
You don't have
man.
that kind of perspective, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, like your paradigm shifts over time and whatnot. And like even with my own grandparents who are both 90 and living like independently at
Yeah.
home still, which is like really inspiring to see, right? So
It's crazy because like you see these 90, 80 or 90-year-olds and they weren't lifting, I don't think, when they were young.
I mean, some might have been, or laboring.
Like when they were like 15.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking like young, like
they
where they are now, like
Yeah.
how young we are now. We don't have anyone who's like 90 years old who's been lifting their entire life.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how we're gonna be if we make 80 or 90 or whatever, I always say I'm gonna live to triple digits, and then whatever.
I mean, it'd be that's a whole other conversation. That'd be
Yeah.
nice if I still have my cognition.
I know, and but we're gonna
Yeah,
Like,
you know what I mean?
a lot of this stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff, we don't have a say.
Yeah,
Whatever happens, happens. But like
you're putting yourself in the best position possible.
yes,
But through being active and lifting, right?
Yeah.
Like, so my grandpa, no, he didn't lift, or my no, he didn't, which is grandpa in Italian. He doesn't specifically lift weights and resistance train, right?
Sorry, no is grandpa in Italian.
No, yeah, and nona is grandma. Yeah,
So what is it like? Really?
yeah,
No.
Yeah.
And nona.
yeah. You
That's
never
not,
heard of that before?
That's not short for something.
No, that's the whole word.
What?
Yeah,
I've
Yeah.
heard like Meemaw.
I mean that's not Italian. But,
Well, ma.
oh,
yeah.
ma,
Ma.
I got
meatloaf.
friends over. But yeah, so
Sorry.
he doesn't like resistance train specifically, but like
Gotcha.
he's a little slower nowadays because you start to slow down when you get to like your ninth decade.
Of course.
But like, man, he's been rototilling his own garden, which is probably like 75% of his backyard.
So he's still physically active.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
pushes the snow blower. And it's only recently that he really like stopped shoveling too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
within the past few years, like he was still shoveling. And the big
Dude.
snowfalls, someone in the family gets over there,
Of course.
right? Because yeah, you don't want anyone to like slip or anything like that, or
Absolutely.
overtax themselves. Because shoveling for them would take all day when it takes me like an hour or something, right? But yeah, so seeing them too and like the level of activity, and even my nona, she keeps so busy with just like
Yeah.
cleaning and cooking. Like she just cannot sit still, like to save her life. Like we'll have family suppers or whatever, and as soon as like supper's kind of done, she'll be up and like cleaning someone else's kitchen. Like like truly, she's just that kind of person, right?
Nonstop.
But yeah, like like the step count that they would be getting is quite high, right?
Yeah.
Like it obviously makes a difference, right?
Absolutely.
And it gives yourself it moves the ceiling upward for
Mm-hmm.
you. So you can move that ceiling higher, and then you're sitting at this higher point, so that as you do naturally start declining, you get to one, stay by that ceiling for longer, right? There's lots of research on that. And you also start from a higher point, right? As you decline. So that means, you could feasibly maybe, get on and off the toilet when you're 80 because you're just lifting your body weight, and that's nothing to you because maybe at 70 years old, you were still squatting 315, right? So, I mean, that'd be cool if you could. I don't know if that would be the case, but I think the analogy kind of stands.
I
right?
got you.
Holds up.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for finding your why in lifting?
Advice?
Yeah. You don't want to point that mic down. Back in your
I'm
mouth.
sorry. Okay, hold on. I keep sliding down in this chair. And
Oh, yeah.
It keeps rolling
You
up.
got short legs.
Yeah. Advice for finding your why? Man, that's a hard one to answer because everybody is going to have a different why.
Yep.
And I don't know if there is a specific thing you can do.
What's your why? Because everyone kind of knows mine now.
Yeah, I mean, mine, when I started lifting, it was originally for
Sport performance.
Yeah, sport performance. And like getting better at wrestling was originally my first. Like, this is why I'm gonna lift. It'll help with wrestling performance. And then I got introduced into powerlifting, and I was like, damn, there's a whole sport based around this. So like, I want to do that. But so for the first couple of years, I was it was just like lifting for the sake of performing. But then in 2016, I don't know, have I ever talked to you about this? My mom got cancer.
Well, I knew your mom
Yes.
had cancer, yeah.
And she got cancer, and it was like 18 months. And during that 18 months, training wasn't training. It was like therapy, I argue. Not that I'm saying like, oh, just go to the weights for therapy.
Yeah, we're not saying it's a replacement for
No.
therapy, but it's a very good adjunct, maybe to actual therapy.
And like, I'm not. It was a good outlet for me because not to take away from like Amanda was my rock that whole time.
Yeah.
And like my support from family and friends. But I tried to keep it as like low key as possible because and this is just me, but like I wasn't one to like broadcast it to the world and like have a pity party for me.
People,
and, you know what I mean?
talk to you and treat you differently when you tell
and
them those kinds of things.
I did not want that.
Yeah.
And during that time, it was a really good outlet for me. And it sounds weird. I'm thankful for the sport of powerlifting and like for what it gave to me was that outlet during that time. And she eventually passed away, and it was like, I don't think I would have gotten through it the same way I did without lifting through it,
There's worse outlets for sure.
I know. And like, it was tough. It was tough to get through, but lifting definitely, I think was a part of it to get through. And so where I was going with it was, it's no longer just lifting for me. It's a way to like, it's an outlet.
Yeah.
And there's days I come home from work, going through a shitty call or something. I'll go to the gym, lift it out. I'll talk. I don't hold anything in. I don't think there's a need for that. Amanda's very, very,
she's a good listener.
She's a good listener. And even if she doesn't say anything, I still just got to talk to somebody and get it out. And even at the gym, it's I mean, I try not to like tell like
the really fucked up parts
really
of being a
fucked up
paramedic.
shit. Yeah, but because I know there's been talk about like secondhand
trauma
and
Oh,
all
that's
that.
definitely real. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I but like, and the community we've built with BCB, Bridge City Barbell.
Yeah.
It's
pretty special.
It is special, and that having that community to talk to, along with the lifting as an outlet,
Yeah,
is I don't think I could live without it now.
Yeah.
I don't see me stopping. People say like, I don't know. I don't think I could not lift
Yeah, me too.
anymore.
It'll probably, I think a good guess would be to say that will probably change in some capacity, like what lifting looks like as we get older.
Yes, absolutely. But
Right.
I'm still going to have weight
Yeah.
on my back.
Yeah.
I'm still going to have weight in my hands.
Yeah.
I can't see me not doing this.
Yeah. Plus, like, it's
Ever.
fun, right? And
And it is fun. And like I said, like I alluded to at the very start, I truly believe it's the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
For longevity.
aging with grace.
Yes.
Because, people talk about lifespan and prolonging the lifespan. Well, like I would say your lifespan means nothing without your health, right?
Yeah.
So like you actually want to focus, I think, on maybe promoting what's called like prolonging your health span, right?
Yeah.
Where you have that youthfulness that you can go do things, right?
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day of a 90-year-old fitness instructor. Man, she does not look 90. And like she doesn't work very much, I don't think, but she's 90. So you know what I mean? It's totally different.
Yeah.
But it does go to show you, like it does make a difference.
Crazy.
And yeah, like it's a beautiful mental health outlet. There's a form of community there. I honestly have the hardest time navigating getting my lifts in on a timely manner and doing them and getting the workout done.
Yep.
Because I don't want to be at the gym for 4 till 10 p.m. when I have to be up at 6:30 a.m. I have no evening, right?
Yep.
I have no free time essentially, other than going to the gym.
Yeah.
I like to do a little bit more than just go to the gym. Maybe like watch a little Netflix with Shay, or maybe play a video game or two.
Yeah.
Like I like that stuff to decompress.
Yep.
As in the gym sometimes is like sometimes stressful. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not, especially if it's not going.
It's hard
well.
when your one outlet is one of your biggest outlets, or it's not going your way.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also our job.
It's
too.
supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah. And like we make the joke, like, our fiancés now will say like, why were you at the gym for so long? And you're like, babe, I was working the floor.
I
You know
was
what mean?
working the floor.
But like,
it's
I've
true.
had like small conversations with people that aren't part of the powerlifting community right now, but they
Mhm.
work out near us or adjacent to us, or
Mhm.
I'll give them a spot and I'll talk to them for a little bit and just, I don't know. I'm not like working them, trying to recruit them to Bridge City Barbell, but I also believe like the community extends further than just our club.
Yes.
Like it was never intended just to be our club that makes the community. Like it's all the adjacent powerlifters that are cousins of Bridge City Barbell, essentially, right? So, and there's lots of cool discussions that happen and really nerdy discussions that happen between
Yep.
us sometimes, right? And like we'll pick each other's brains on coaching stuff, or like, oh yeah, you guys see that weird shit that Huberman's been talking about? And like, we'll talk about that too. And like,
You ever talk to Tim about periodization?
no.
Oh fuck, he
Is it-
gets into it.
Yeah, he's a nerdy guy.
He does not like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man,
He was telling me, he was like, yeah, some of those research studies are based off of like mice. And I was like, what?
I mean, there are definitely some. A lot of the research on periodization actually comes from like Russian sports schools, but we talked about this already, I'm pretty sure.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a nerd.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's
But
funny.
even like talking about spreadsheets and shit like that at the gym.
Yeah.
Love to freak out in the sheets, You know how it'd be.
It's
But yeah,
funny.
finding your why, man. It's if you're listening to this podcast and you're not sure what gets you to the gym, figure that out. The sooner the better,
Yeah.
because it can evolve, it can adapt, and the meaning can change over time. Because I didn't have a lifting community when I started lifting, but like figure out what it is that is fun for you, and when it's no longer fun for you, like why is it that you keep going, right?
Mhm.
Because like for me, it's my health, right?
Yeah.
And like, again, I love being able to go to my sister's apartment to move her out of a second floor without an elevator and just pick up anything in that given apartment and not worry about it.
Yep.
Right? Like,
Exactly.
Stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that fires me up. We always do the stairs to the 5th floor in the hospital from the ground floor.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever, 6 flights of stairs or whatever it is. Yeah. And I'm a little out of breath like when I get to the top, but I'm not gassed.
Oh.
Like it's relatively easy for me. You know what I mean? To do that.
Yeah.
And like a part of that is like the condition I keep myself in and my muscle mass to body weight ratio and stuff. But man, that feels good.
Yeah.
Like, that feels good. Taking on 5-6 flights of stairs and just being like, I could go do this again if I had to.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
could go all the way up to the top of RUH if I wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, stuff like that. Finding those moments, holding on to them, because when you're in the negativity pool, it's very hard to. It's a pit.
Yeah.
Right. The pit of despair, if you will. it's very hard to see out of it and have that perspective. So having that thing that keeps you disciplined and going to the gym, or not going to the gym, working towards your goal in another aspect, like focusing on your nutrition and things like that. When you can't make it to the gym because there's a family function or something, I don't know.
Mhm.
Find ways to be able to pivot and laterally shift your goals. I think has a massive impact on finding your why and maintaining that why. Right? Yeah, I think that was a good bookend there
That was beautiful.
for the first part of the podcast.
Hey,
Second part, we're going to dive into a Q&A, our first Q&A.
I'm excited.
Let's take a quick break because I got to pee pretty bad.
God.
So we'll be right
Fine.
back. And welcome back to the Aches, Pains, and Gains podcast. We are back from our quick little break here, starting our first ever Q&A. So how you want to do this? You want to like pitch them to me, and then
Well, I got it on my phone here, so I'll start, pitch them to you, and then if I got something to add.
all right, dude.
Yeah.
Rapid
Okay.
fire. See, we'll see.
What we did was we just went on our Aches, Pains, and Gains Instagram page and just made a post or a story with people, giving people the opportunity to answer questions and ask questions for us to answer. So that's what this is from.
And so if you don't currently follow the Aches, Pains, and Gains Instagram account, I recommend doing that because we'll probably have future Q&As since this
Uh-huh.
one was moderately successful.
We did get a lot of good questions here. A lot of dumb comments from Taylor, but nonetheless, we got a lot of good stuff. So the first one comes from That Northern Breeze, it's Bree.
Yep.
Not a question. Just wanted to say I'm pumped. I have been waiting for a new episode for a while.
Always warms my heart to hear that.
Yeah. One of our 2 fans.
One of our, I think we have 7 now,
Well,
actually.
that's probably true. Yeah. So thank you, Bree. We're recording now, so just wait.
This one's for you.
Yeah. Jake Paxco. Pasco? How do you say his name?
It's PAC.
ZKO.
Yeah, I've always said Paxco. Or whatever.
Paxco?
Or Pasco. Yeah.
Some Polish stuff.
I
but
don't know. Yeah.
anyway, he has a really good question, and this is kind of a, if you had to add a 4th competition movement to powerlifting, what would it be?
Well, the easy answer is some sort of overhead press variation.
Yes.
However, there's another way you can look at this, right? Because squatting is a pushing movement.
Yep.
Bench press is a pushing movement. And the deadlift is a pulling movement. So you have 2 pushing to 1 pulling. So you could also think about adding a new pulling movement.
Yeah.
Which pulling movement would you add though? It's got to be a barbell, right?
It's got to
Obviously.
be a barbell, and I would opt. It'd have to be like a. I don't want to say a barbell row, but like a Pendlay style row.
Yeah, so it's starting from a dead stop on the ground kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Where would you place it in the competition?
At the very end. Fuck it.
After deadlifts? Sounds horrible. I feel like you'd have to squat.
You'd have to. What would you?
squat, Pendlay row, bench press, then deadlift.
Yeah, you'd have to split it up. Oh, and well, no, I think it'd have to be lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body,
Oh yeah.
or vice versa. You know what I mean?
But ending with the deadlift is like exciting. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So you got to end with the deadlift.
Yeah. How do you finish with a fucking Pendlay row?
That's
That
so
would look
lame.
ridiculous.
People
yeah.
have like 135 on there.
Yeah. No, okay, I agree. So yeah, what you could do, you would have to rearrange the order
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go bench press first, squat, Pendlay row, deadlift.
Yeah.
I think that would be your best bet.
So yeah, so the answer.
Because the Pendlay row, if you do it correctly, kind of warms you up for deadlifts.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true actually. Learning how to like create tension, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess
So but again, that's, I don't know. I also think like an overhead press,
just
a
classic.
barbell overhead press.
Yeah.
Because if you look there in the States, there's the thing called strength lifting.
Yep.
Which is dumb, but it's squat, overhead press, deadlift.
Yeah. So
Silly.
that could be a good way to do it too.
Anything else? Would you put a clean in there?
No, not a clean.
No. Yeah. How would you do that with calibrated plates? Because you have to use calibrated plates.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to like accept that the bar is going to get destroyed then, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I would say not a clean because it's called powerlifting, which is a misnomer because we don't really do very powerful movements.
Should be called force.
force lifting or
Yeah.
or strength lifting or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Olympic weightlifting could be called powerlifting because those are very powerful, fast movements, right? But
Yeah.
um,
Silly.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that'd be my answer to the question, though. Overall, I think either a pulling movement,
Yeah.
like the Penley row, or a overhead press. Overhead press will be more exciting. Okay, final answer: overhead press.
Final answer, overhead press.
Starting from a dead stop, kind of on your chest or close to your chest.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It'd have to be, what would the commands be? Start? No.
It'd be starting down.
Fuck. That'd be tough.
You're sitting there because you have the down command in weightlifting, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of like that.
That'd be kind of tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for bench press, you start at the top end. For overhead press, you can start at the top end.
Yeah. I feel like that's crazy.
That would be not fun.
No, it'd be like people be hitting themselves in the face or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah.
Final answer, overhead press.
Yeah, me too. Me
Nice.
too.
Okay, that's good.
Give me another.
This next one comes from Carolyn Tran, who, if you don't know who that is our commander-in-chief
Commander-in-chief
of the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association, our El Presidente.
El Presidente.
Yeah, she has a question. Why don't you just coin yourselves the powerlifting Mario and Luigi?
I think that's in reference to our beautiful mustaches.
Could be, and our stature.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of shorter and fatter.
And I am Italian.
And you, Italiano.
Upstairs, when we took a break, I was checking on the chili I was making. And I threw some lime juice in there. And Danny was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Trust me. Trust. Let him cook." And then Danny tasted it after. He's like, "It's pretty good."
That's
and
that Italian twist.
That's the Italian twist.
What's that song called?
I don't know what it's actually called.
I don't know. I made it in one of my stories the one time. Anyway, what if we, I don't know. Why don't we?
We could.
Everyone just references us. Well, she does all the time.
As Mario Luigi.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the comments.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Anyway, maybe we will.
Okay. This next one comes from Mitch Peterson. Mitch P. Lifts.
Who's that? I'm just kidding.
He's a client. Who ruled the mat in high school? Danny or Tommy?
Oh, brother. Okay, so we only wrestled one time.
Buck, I'll tell you this. I'll tell the story because I know, like I said, how it's going to finish.
We talked about this.
How it's going to end. We only wrestled each other one time in an actual tournament. I was in grade 12 and he was in grade 10. And of course, I fucking stomped you. Like,
it's true.
I don't even think you scored a point.
I think I got behind you once. It was 2.
I got the video. I don't think it is.
Pull it up. I'll fucking watch it right now.
Well, it's at home. I don't. Anyway.
All right, fine.
Anyway, I won. I beat you.
Yeah.
So out of that, our one meeting, I won. But if you were to take my grade 12 best and your grade 12 best, who do you think would win?
That'd be a lot closer.
What weight class were you? What weight class were you?
I went up I went down for grade 12.
For what?
I let another grade 12 senior take another weight class, like the one I was in. So I won provincials in grade 11 at 76 kilos.
Fuck you.
And then I went down to 73 for grade 12 provincials.
73?
Yeah.
73?
Yeah.
Fuck, I was 73 in grade 12.
So yeah, we would have been the same.
We would have been the
class,
same.
for sure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Who would have won?
I mean, I had more provincial titles, so.
And that's where I knew it was going to go. Because my grade 10, 11, and 12 year, I've made it to the provincial final all 3 years.
Yep.
All 3 years I got silver.
Yep.
The first year I was going up against Malcolm Meekins.
Yep.
He was in grade 12. I was in grade 10.
Yep.
I was the only one that year to score a point on him.
Oh,
Whoop.
yeah.
Swish. Swish. Got behind him. Crowd went wild. Went back to the corner. Dean was swearing at me. But he was swearing at me to pump me up.
Yep.
He was, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, "You fucking hit him hard." And I was just like, ah! Dean was a different animal back then.
Yeah.
And then my grade 11 year, made it to the gold medal final, and I was wrestling Lucas Hoffert, who was a national champ, and he was also really good from Regina. And we had a good match, but he finished out at the end of the day. And then grade 12, dude, just insane. What the fuck? I was in grade 12. Trey Freight Station, whatever. I butchered that. He was in grade 11.
Yes.
I think he was in grade 10 or grade 11. And we met in the city finals.
Oh, grade 10. Yeah, he's a grade 10.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We met in the city finals, and he kind of caught me on a cow catcher, threw me to my back, and then I re-rolled and pinned him.
Yep.
And lo and behold, we met again in the gold medal final.
Provincials.
Yeah. He did the same fucking thing, and I just couldn't roll out of it.
Yep.
And he pinned me.
Yep.
And so I was like, that sucks.
That sucks. Yeah, I don't know who would
But
win
hold on.
from
Yeah, I
peak.
don't know. That would be
If we had to wrestle now, I think I'd win because I'm bigger.
the fuck you
And I did wrestle a year for Huskies, which like I got like a lot better wrestling with the Huskies, like every single day.
Okay.
with that caliber of wrestling. I don't know. Might just be talking shit.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
we can settle this.
We could.
Both get injured.
Well, we
Both can't do
both
westerns.
up for westerns. Yeah. Yeah. I think
Hey, you know what we should do? We'll do an opener for a meet. We'll have a charity match. You and I. We'll raise money. We'll wrestle.
like oh my god, that's funny.
It'd be fun.
So to answer your question, Mitch, I kicked his ass. But yeah, if we went now, I don't know.
I think you'd have a tough time. We've like wrestled.
I don't think you fucking think I'd just roll over.
No, I don't think. I'm not saying it'd be easy. We'd both be gassed.
I know we'd be gassed right away.
But like even you, when I came into powerlifting at 83, and you were like in the 70s, and like we locked up and we're wrestling at nationals, both of us.
Well, weight does play a huge.
It makes a huge difference in wrestling.
Yeah.
Huge difference, right? And like I remember I grabbed you and like I tied you up, and you were like, "Holy fuck, you're strong."
I know,
Which is a lot different than last time we wrestled because we, I don't know, hadn't done that in like 5 years or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, grade 12. I don't know. I have no idea who would win that
tough
one.
to say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was like a one move specialist.
I only lost once in grade 12.
Same.
Yeah, in
It's the very end. Fuck.
I lost like mid-season
Yeah.
to like the guy I met in the provincial final.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skylar DeChambeau.
Crazy.
And then I won in the final.
Anyway,
Anyway,
my man. Did you go to nationals?
I did go to national. No, I did.
We
Yeah.
did. We were there.
I did not do very good
Oh.
at nationals. I got a bronze in Greco though, the 1 year.
I got silver. That means I lost. Fuck.
What's the next question?
Moving on, we have a next one from Nick Wall. His question is, what is the most embarrassing thing that has happened to each of you while performing a lift?
Yeah, I don't think like this one goes very far. Some people would have good stories. You and I just don't.
No,
I farted during a lift and missed a rep because of it.
that is about it.
Yeah, same.
Like I've never shit myself. I've
No.
never come close to that.
Yeah.
Well,
I've had a close call.
I've gagged because like I remember one day I was doing like sets of 9 with like 475 squatting.
Yep.
And a couple sets in, I started to feel it kind of brewing.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And I did one more set and I was like, oh fuck, this is like in my throat.
yeah,
So I had the garbage can ready, but I never did.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I've gagged from front squatting. Man.
oh yeah, I've done that. Like, I've
Yeah.
done that. Like I'm like I'm like doing the rep on the way up and I'm just getting choked out by
Because
it.
you're fighting your chest up, right? You're fighting for that
Yep.
chest position, and you
Yep.
shove the bar back against your trachea, and you're like,
Yeah. No, I've only ever threw up one time from physical activity,
Me too.
and that was during wrestling.
I was doing dryland like training for wrestling. Oh, not dryland. Like strength conditioning for
Yeah.
wrestling,
Oh.
like non-mat work.
Yeah, I
essentially.
gotcha.
I worked out in high school. It was like a husky prep thing when I was in grade 12, and then after
Classic.
I just had to throw up.
Classic. I remember we were finishing junior Huskies. Oh wow! I remember we finished a junior Huskies session and we're like thinking it's done, and then Shane goes on the wall, and we're like, oh fuck!
You know, that's like a universal thing. Hey,
Oh yeah,
I've seen memes about that. Like
Yep.
out of the States, I was like, oh,
it's not just us.
all wrestling
Yeah.
coaches do that.
On the wall, and we had to pair up, and I think I was with Taylor,
Yeah,
and one person was doing sprints. It was a half an hour
conditioning.
conditioning
session.
thing.
Yeah, one person doing sprints.
One person was doing sprints
While
while
the
the other was
other-
doing push-ups or some
push-ups,
exercise.
planks, sit-ups,
Yep.
jumping jacks,
And we just
yeah.
did that, rinse and repeat, for half an hour.
Yeah.
And I remember by the end of it, I had to just get up and fucking throw up.
Yeah.
And I did. I opened up the door. I opened up the door to the outside. It was like February. It was fucking just like this fog was coming in.
Yeah.
And I was like, but brutal.
Oh,
Anyway, that's about it. But like powerlifting wise,
nah, nothing really.
no.
Throwing up and shitting yourself in powerlifting are like less common than people think, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's those compilations on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that like show all that stuff. And even people passing out for that matter. It's pretty rare, actually.
I've never come close to passing out.
I've been dizzy. Never like lost consciousness
No.
or anything.
Yeah. Okay, the next one comes from our boy Trevor Johnson. He has a lot of questions here. We'll get through some of them. We won't get to all of them.
Give me the best picks.
Okay, hold on. Let me just look here. The first one, when struggling to put on weight during a bulk, is it okay to eat almost anything?
I mean, short answer, no. Longer answer. When you're struggling to put on a bulk, usually you can look into what you're eating to help facilitate that bulk. So actually lowering your protein and kind of maybe going on the lower end of your quote unquote optimal amount of protein, that helps a lot because protein is very satiating. Vice versa, if you're cutting, upping your protein can actually help you cut.
Yeah.
Because you feel less hungry. The mouth feel of foods affects how hungry you feel as well. So tougher foods tend to make you feel more full. So if you're just putting down like really easily digestible foods or really like soft foods in your mouth all the time, like those kinds of things will allow you to eat more. That's why like mass gainer shakes are like an easy way. Or even like I used to make like 1,000 calorie smoothie.
Hell
I had
yeah.
like peanut butter and oats and
Yep.
Greek yogurt and fruit in there. And I would drink it over the course of like many hours. But you know, like I'd put it back in the fridge kind of thing. Like I'd drink half and then
Yeah.
put it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't just put down like 1,000 calories.
You
straight.
could though.
I could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel very good.
Eh.
But yeah. But yeah, so because it's like easy to like it's in like a smooth mouthfeel, like it's just man, it sounds weird saying mouthfeel, but like you know what I'm
what you
talking
mean.
about. It's like a nice texture. You
It's
know
a
what
soft food.
I mean? Yeah, so it goes down a lot
Mushy.
easier. It's
Yeah,
mushy,
yeah.
yeah. Versus something like an overcooked cheap steak. Like you're gonna feel quite full.
That's not
after-
even well done. It's congratulations.
Yeah. I've never heard that before. It's not even well done. It's congratulations. It's that step above. You know how there's like that level below rare where it's blue rare and
Yeah.
then there's like still moving?
Yeah.
It's the on the other end.
I
It's,
think I heard a fucking moo on the plate,
Yeah.
brother. That shit's kicking.
and then the other end, it's like it's congratulated. You congratulated the steak.
Oh shit! You never heard that? That's
no,
funny.
that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I would say no, and then also because, like you could just eat whatever you and do a quote unquote dirty bulk and just go to McDonald's every day, but like most people don't want to stop looking like they lift. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying by saying that?
Yes.
So it's like most people want to still kind of look like they lift. And that means kind of mitigating the amount of adipose tissue you put on versus the amount of muscle mass that you're putting on, right? Because a caloric surplus is going to be necessary. You also just don't want to throw things like your vitamin intake and fiber intake and like the stuff that's healthy for you
Yeah.
just to the wind.
Yeah.
So like going on a straight McDonald's diet, while that could maybe work a little bit, but obviously like you still want to take care of your health. At least that's part of my goals. I mean, like, what's the point of that short-term harm that you're doing to yourself that you didn't need to do?
Yeah.
So again, like that's the long answer, but I would say no. It's not okay.
I'm going to get into a lot less depth here.
Yeah.
If you're struggling to put on weight, you said it best, like the mouthfeel, soft foods.
Yep.
Drink your calories.
Yeah, drink your calories helps a ton.
Drink your calories, and an easy example would be one of those like a mass gainer.
Yep, mass gainer
Shake.
shakes.
Like you said, 1,000 calories. Drink. Like it doesn't have to be 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
But you could just easily add it in between meals.
Or even a couple of them. I
And
would
then-
also add more meal frequency too. Actually.
Yeah. And then like if you're concerned about gaining weight, I wouldn't be opposed to just like fucking once a week go to some fast food place, like once a week's not going to hurt you.
No,
It's
no,
not the end of the
no.
world. But if you think you're going to go do that every day, that's probably not a good idea
Also, like,
on your health or your bank account
or your training.
or your training. Yeah,
Because, like, I mean, people will like debate this a little bit,
probably.
but McDonald's is not a good pre-workout snack.
I don't
All
think
right?
so. Well, their hotcakes are pretty fucking good.
all right, fair enough. But but you know what I mean? Like, you go have like a quarter pounder
That'd
from
be-
McDonald's, and
no,
you go
that'd-
try and work out after. It's like
No.
some people are like, oh yeah, I feel fine when I do that. I don't care that you feel fine and your stomach's okay with it. I'm more so concerned with the fact that energy availability in that circumstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't get access to the energy stored within fat for like a longer period of time, right?
Right.
So like you get access to energy quicker when their carbohydrates are simpler carbs, right?
Yeah.
Which do exist in McDonald's and whatnot, but that tremendous amount of fat can also make you just feel really bloated, right? So
Yeah.
which is not great either. And then again, you don't want to shit yourself or throw up, right?
Well, that's a good answer.
Hit me with the next one.
Okay.
What do we got?
This one's kind of funny. How do you talk to your gym crush?
Ooh, okay. Have you ever done that?
You trying to get me in trouble, bro?
Danny's been in a relationship since grade 9
Yeah,
that has not ended.
that has not ended. That's tough.
I don't
know.
think I've ever met a girl at a gym that I've went out with.
Really?
So, yeah.
I know a lot of people have met.
Yeah,
at the
that's
gym.
the thing. That's the thing. Who
Yeah.
asked this question again?
That's Trevor.
Maybe Trevor knows. We should bring him on.
We should have asked him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, without any experience, advice I would give is honestly, probably don't talk to them at the gym.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Like, it's,
I don't
it's
know, man.
okay to talk to people.
You can talk to people for sure.
Like, just don't be a creep about it. You know?
Yeah, like don't lead with like some comment about their body.
Hey, I saw you squatting over there in the rack,
Yeah.
nice and deep. Like, those leggings really work for you.
Don't say stuff like that. don't say. Maybe you could be like, hey, like I saw you benching, like you're pretty strong. Like how long you been doing this? I might.
I mean, that might come across creepy.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. It's tough. Now that I heard you say it, I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
man,
know.
I don't know.
but like I don't know if on the other end of things, if like I was single and a girl came up to me and like said that,
That's every guy's dream,
Well,
probably.
I'd be excited to talk about it because I'm so into lifting. It's something
Yeah.
I'm into.
Yeah.
So it could go the other way too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? You want to like talk to that person, but like, how do you suss out if they're single at the gym? That's what I mean. It's like that's a weird thing to kind of bring up. Like, hey, I was wondering if I could like. I mean, you can always hit them with like, I was wondering if I could get your number.
Just be straightforward
Yeah.
and not creepy. That's probably a good way
Being
to go.
straightforward is probably the best option. Or
Yeah.
like even asking like just like, hey, like I'm just wondering like, are you single? You know what I mean? I mean-
it's a little way. I don't know, man. This is a
I mean,
tough question.
you can just be straight up.
yeah.
Someone asked me that question I was out at the bar one time, and I've never been asked that over the course of my relationship with Shay. So I know I must be ugly or something. And
Okay.
And,
settle down.
I blame the mustache. It wasn't until I had a mustache that I was at the bar and this girl like walked by and then she came back and was like, she comes right up to me and she's like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like a few beers in, my brain was buffering, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And she goes, hey, are you single? Like just flat out came up to me and asked that.
Really?
One, a lot of things I was trying to process at the same time. I was so
You're trying to figure out which one to look at?
I was so impressed with her confidence.
yeah.
I was trying to figure out which of the two of them was real. And then 3, she had a USask sweater on, and I was trying to place her when she originally walked up to me. That was my first thought. Oh, I might know this girl because
Yeah,
I went
yeah,
to the U of S, right? Maybe she's like, hey, we were in kin together or something. I don't know. And I was buffering that at the same time. And then on the other hand, my brain was like, no, you have a girlfriend. No, that's your fiance. It doesn't really matter. Maybe you should just say you have a girlfriend. So all that's going on. And then, so I just stared at her in silence for a brief moment of time.
Are you serious?
Too long for it to be not awkward. And then I went,
Oh my God.
I'm not single. So yeah, that story goes to show that maybe I'm not the best person to be giving advice on this.
That is so funny. You just,
And and my buddy that I was out for drinks with, Connor, one of the grooms,
yeah. Yeah.
he was just staring at me while this was happening. He was like, I gotta help him.
Say something.
Yeah.
Say something.
I felt bad after
Yeah.
too, because like I was like, I don't know, I think I had like 9 beer, man. Like We were sitting there waiting for the bill after
Oh, you were 3 sheets to the wind,
Dude,
brother.
we were trying to like think about how many drinks we had had.
Yeah.
We did not know. The bill was a surprise. Like it was one of those kind of, it was expensive. But yeah,
Nice.
you know what I mean? Like one of
Yeah.
those kind of days.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I felt really bad for her because she like, that probably like took immense courage, you know what I mean? To like come up and just be like,
Wow.
because she walked by and then came back.
You shot her down.
And she was probably like, fuck it. I'm gonna go give it a go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Shooter's gotta shoot.
Yeah.
Comes up and I'm like, I am not single. I
Rough.
felt bad. I still
Rough
think about
go.
it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my answer. Is I'm not the right person to give advice.
That's a good answer. Me neither. I've never been in that situation before.
Nice. All right, moving on.
Moving on. This next one is Trevor's got a lot. Do we want to answer all of them?
I don't know. Can we lightning round them?
Squat shoes versus flats.
Flats. I'm just kidding. Doesn't
Moving on.
matter. I've done both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also done both, and I've found that the squat shoes would kind of push me forward, and it affected like squat stability.
Yeah.
In a way, when I moved to flats, I just felt a lot more stable, and the lift itself was a lot more consistent.
Mhm.
So, not to say flats were wrong. Thousands of people use flats all the time.
My advice is
Or
try.
they use squat shoes all
Yeah,
the time, and it
my-
works for them.
My advice is just try both.
Yeah, honestly.
Try both. Experiment. See what feels better.
The next one. Oh fuck! How do you water cut? That'll be a whole episode. Next.
Yeah. Moving on.
The best supplements to take as a powerlifter:
They're
creatine, whey protein if you can't get it through nutrition,
Yeah.
and
like whole foods.
maybe a caffeine or like
If
a
you
pre-workout if you need.
But caffeine's pretty overrated, so maybe don't take it where it affects your sleep.
Oh, okay. Moving on. This is a good one.
Supplements are supplementary to your diet, by the way.
Thank you.
They're not supposed to replace things or be the end all be all.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good answer. This next one comes from Wild Man Thrasher,
Wild man thrash.
our boy Daniel Thrasher. Can you have too much mental intensity when attempting PRs?
Absolutely. This is pretty well known in sports psychology.
Yeah.
But there's a sweet spot for it's like an inverted U on the y-axis. You'd have like your level of psychological arousal, and actually I don't know what you put on the x-axis. I think it might be time too or something like that. But yeah, so you can think of it as like there's a point of diminishing returns with your level of intensity,
Mhm.
and your level of intensity is individual, but also needs to be specific to the task. So, for example, an Olympic archer is probably not going to get as quote unquote fired up as a powerlifter getting slapped across the face and bleeding as they go out on the platform to powerlift. But yeah, for me, I like to go into squats fairly level-headed, but like intense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Bench, I'm pretty chill about.
Yep.
And then deadlift, I have to really kind of fire it up.
I'm the exact same way.
So
Although I feel like I'm a little more, what's the word?
amped up, aroused.
Eccentric. Eccentric for squats. Like I my whole body.
That's your lift, though.
Yeah, it's like
You care the most about that.
Honestly, I do. Yeah, the same way. Squats, I get a little almost too fired up sometimes. Well, no, I don't find myself losing control. Like
Yeah.
I'm still focused on the task at hand. And then bench press, I just gotta like focus and do the lift.
Yeah.
But maybe I should get that fired up for bench press.
You try it.
Maybe that's what I need.
You can also, there's also like only so many times you can do that.
But then you redline too long, then you're gassed.
yeah, you start getting those diminishing returns, right? So yeah, it's both like time sensitive and like, yeah. So there's like a certain amount of time you can do it for.
Yeah.
That's like a sweet spot. That's, you're going to get your most bang for your buck. And the amount of arousal that you have too is going to be individual to each person.
And you also, got to take into account, like being in front of like an audience.
Yep.
There's that like novelty stimulus where you're kind
Yeah.
of all eyes on you and you got that adrenaline pumping. So that will also play into things.
Whereas like Mike DeShear, he'll go out and lift and he looks like he just woke up from a nap.
I know,
When he-
man. But he's throwing around like 850 pounds.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Very strong.
Just rolled out of bed.
Yeah. So it's very different for everyone, really.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's the answer, I think.
Yeah. I got nothing else to add there.
Hit me with the next one.
The last one from Instagram is from Trevor. Is PPL overrated or underrated? So he's referring to, I'm assuming, push-pull legs
Yeah,
as a training split.
like the training split.
Yeah.
I would say anyone that really hangs their hat on a certain training split doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Mhm.
There's no one way to properly. There's no magic split.
Right.
It's all about balancing stress and recovery, or
Yeah.
stimulus and recovery. It's all about finding the balance for that. So like that's essentially just navigating the variables of volume, intensity, and frequency, and figuring out what best works for you within those constraints, and then progressing those as well. That's kind of like the sweet spot. I used to believe you couldn't work out the same body part on back-to-back days, and now I bench press every single session that I'm in the gym. So
Yeah.
so it's just it's so individual. You got to find what works best for you. The most important thing is that it's sustainable. That's like the most important part of your split.
Adherence to the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you can't adhere to the plan you made, it doesn't matter. We've talked about this a lot on the podcast,
Oh, yeah.
but adherence
Yeah.
is the underpinning of everything. And that's why, like, even going back to earlier, the goals you set, like, they need to be adherable. You know what I mean? Like, they need to be something that you can sustain.
Yeah.
And hopefully something you enjoy too
Yeah.
along the way.
I agree.
But yeah,
That's
so
sweet.
my one word answer would be overrated.
Overrated. Definitely overrated. Okay, hold on. I gotta go find these other ones. These last ones here are from Kelsey.
Okay.
So these ones are a little more what's the word? Deep? Meaningful?
Yep.
Not that the other questions were not meaningful, but these ones kind of provoke a lot more thought. What has been the biggest lessons you've experienced as athletes in this sport, and how has that influenced the way that you coach your athletes?
Ooh. You want to start?
I would, I'll probably give like a not a super long answer, but essentially when I was competing, when I wasn't coaching and I was just an athlete, I've worked with a lot of coaches. So like in wrestling, I was always observing how coaches
Coach.
do things.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know things that I like and know things that I didn't like. And working with powerlifting coaches, I did the same thing, knowing, taking in what they're doing and eventually like fine tuning that to my practice and essentially being the coach that I've always wanted, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm
very much the same.
That's what I've tried to do in terms of my coaching practice to my athletes, is to be the coach that growing up, that's what I've always thought was the best. Not to take away from my coaches in the past. I know they were doing the best they can. But
Everyone has
that's what I do.
Their own different style.
Yeah.
And like when you met a certain coach at a certain point in their life, they might have not been at the right point to meet certain needs of yours as an athlete too,
Yeah,
right?
everybody's always evolving.
Yeah, it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the big lessons too, is learning how to be coached is almost the biggest prerequisite for being a coach, I think.
Can you teach someone to be coachable?
We've talked about this a lot, actually. I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
I remember I shared that post with you, and nothing summarized it better than that. But being a good athlete takes a tremendous amount of self-awareness.
Yep.
And there are people that are just certain points in their journeys, in their lives,
Yep.
where they just lack a certain amount of self-awareness. Now, that being said, I have had athletes develop self-awareness through coaching,
Yeah.
especially online coaching, because you are doing so much on your own. Like the onus really is
on you,
yeah. And you need to be the one reporting back to your coach at whatever frequency it is that you decided, right? So I think like one of the biggest takeaways from being an athlete would just be, how to be coachable and developing that self-awareness, right? And also like competing and lifting, like eventually you will experience aches and pains and changes in your life and changes in your schedule and significant life altering events and stuff like that. And being through those and just experiencing those and still trying to do the damn thing and gaining that experience is something I can like pass on to my athletes that are sometimes younger than me too, but sometimes they're older than me, but not as far in their development in terms of those things. They've never experienced those things before. And so I can be the guiding light that one like seeks to validate their experience, right? I've had coaches in the past that have like invalidated the experience like I'm sharing, which is something I strive to never do, right? Because that's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like you're just tough it out. You're, be better, be stronger, be tougher. I come from a combat sport background. So there's definitely a lot of that kind of shit thrown around. But like learning that everyone has these individual experiences that are all vastly different from each other, and we can't ever hope to fully understand another person's individual experience. There's that moment in Harry Potter when he's dead for a little bit,
Yeah.
and he's in like that heaven-esque kind of area with
Mhm.
Dumbledore, and it's all white and vibrant and pretty. And Harry Potter asks, like, "Is this real or is this all in my head?" And Dumbledore said something along the lines of like, "Just because it's in your head doesn't mean it's not real." And I was like, I remember this came up later, but I remember like reading that quote and I was like, damn, Dumbledore, he was on to something there.
Yeah.
But that's like the best way to sum it up. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot of that through being an athlete myself,
Mhm.
but then also starting to coach people and reflecting upon the coaches I've had in the past. Yeah, that was a long-winded answer, but like, damn, we're getting philosophical up in
That's
here.
good.
So
That's good. That answers it.
boom.
Boom. This next one also from Kelsey. These last two are also from Kelsey. Where do you see the sport in 10 years' time? And what do you think it would take to see powerlifting in the Olympics?
I don't think powerlifting is going to get integrated into the Olympics. And
Whoa,
I also-
here.
I also don't think it's all that great. I don't think, even though the Olympics is like whatever, the pinnacle of sport and whatnot, there's a lot of bullshit that you have to put up with as an organizing body that doesn't necessarily benefit the growth of the sport,
Mm.
right? A lot of Olympic events are not very watchable, right? That's just how it is, the way they're set up. For example, you watch like NFL primetime or something like that, or like mixed martial arts like UFC, like the production on those things, the super slow-mo replays, like the commentary, all those things are part of this awesome, like fantastic production that makes it very watchable, right? They don't necessarily really do that at all with each Olympic event, right? And there's also the issue of powerlifting not being a very unified sport, right? And I actually think the disunification is net beneficial because at one point in time, the IPF was not the guy or, the place to compete, but because they had their own thing, it became what it is today. And maybe the IPF won't be around forever, and we're going to need another organizing body to be the one that steps up and takes the plate, right? So having this intra like league competition is, I think, net good for the sport, even though it does create some division.
Yeah.
I would like it if we could compete cross like division. I don't think an amateur sport should ever be regulated to the extent that they choose
They
where
get
you
punished.
can and
They get-
cannot compete.
You get punished for going to another federation.
Yeah, they tried to do that in SAS boxing too at
Yeah.
one point in time, and it was like, none of us are getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
Let me go compete whatever I want,
Yeah.
and when I come back from maybe I compete in an untested federation, then like just drug test me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like maybe like I just wanted to compete over there because my friend was competing in a meet, and
Yeah.
I was gonna go watch, and he was like, "Why don't you just sign up?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are my 2 cents, I guess. I don't know
Yeah.
what your thoughts are.
No, I think like the IPF over the last couple of years, I find it, trying to not say something that would get me in trouble or something, but like,
Man, you wouldn't get in trouble.
I guess
You're supposed to be able to criticize the organization that you.
Well, I just find it harder
That's
and harder
democracy.
and harder to like be proud of like, oh, I compete in the IPF.
Yeah.
Which is how much garbage is coming from them now.
Like the new bench rules.
And the lack of, just the lack of like communication with athletes. I think there's such a disconnect from like the organization versus the actual athletes competing.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I just find it tough over the last couple of years. It's just like, what is happening? And I'm just like, fuck, we're just lifting weights. Like, let's
And none of us are getting paid to do it.
And none of and again, okay, and so this is supposed to be amateur sport, and like the Olympics are supposed to be peak amateur sport. Yes,
Yeah.
So I would love to see it in the Olympics, because it is, I find, more
Relatable than Olympic
relatable
weightlifting?
than Olympic lifting.
Yeah.
Because whenever I tell somebody I powerlift, the first thing they do is, "Oh, is that this one?" And if you didn't see, I'm putting my hands over my head because everyone thinks powerlifting is in the Olympics
Yeah.
already. And then when you explain things, you're like, "Oh, what do you do?"
Just squat, bench, dead.
Squat, bench, and deadlift, man. And I find that a lot more relatable for like the general population versus the clean and jerk and the snatch, where you're essentially doing the same thing.
And most people don't do those.
No,
I would say in like an average gym.
but because it's overhead and you're like, I think it's more impressive.
Yeah, me too.
I think they think it's more impressive because you're putting it overhead.
Yep.
Versus just lifting it. You know what I mean?
Just moving it from A to B back to A.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then like powerlifting right now, it's like the Wild West
Yeah.
with all these federations and divisions, and it's so divisive. Like, I don't know. I find
Divided, yeah.
divided. Like the USAPL is now stepping into Canada.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
Toronto?
Yep.
And then just there's a lot of it's a very turbulent time.
I think competition
Right
between
now in
the
the IPF.
organizations is good though, because it should
Yes.
make them want to do better.
Well, it should create incentive for them to
Retain athletes.
retain athletes, but the way the IPF is going about it is fucking dumb.
Yeah, when they like, for example, like the really recently when they implemented the elbow depth rule on bench press,
Yeah.
with the most ambiguous rules ever, with no like announcement post, like
Yeah.
the lifters themselves took it upon themselves
Yeah.
to create clarity for the general populace, like that. I always forget her name, from Great Britain.
Ellis.
Nope,
Ask
Sophie.
Sophie Ellis.
Is that Sophie Ellis?
I got to double check her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sophia Ellis, I think.
Yeah, so she met up with some international refs,
Well, she went to a
or is a seminar or something.
so the IPF has coaching
certification.
certification programs.
Yeah.
That's oddly enough, they're only hosted in like Europe.
Yeah.
There's nothing global or worldwide, which
Yeah.
is bullshit. But she went to one of those
Yeah.
and they clarified. They clarified it there. I'm just gonna double check if it's Sophie.
But yeah, so the fact that like the way they went went
Sophia
about
Ellis.
that, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So the way they went about that just like didn't make a lot of sense,
No.
and that's a good way to lose members, and they probably did lose members over that.
And here's the other thing is that I think stemmed from a backlash of like comments on social media.
Yeah,
Why are we letting losers that
don't
compete and don't even lift sometimes
and don't even watch
and don't even watch dictate what we're doing in a federation
I
as
agree.
athletes? I think that's fucking stupid.
I think they're trying to make it more watchable.
Well,
I
they
guess,
are, but they're going the wrong way.
that was not the way to do it.
That was not the way to do
Nope.
it. Yeah. So I hate that when I look at comments
Yeah,
and I'm like, fuck, you guys don't even like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I get what they're doing. They're just being negative for the sake of being negative, because
But
that's how people work.
if it's so easy, then why don't you go do it like
Yeah.
that, right?
So
yeah, and then they'd be like,
it's-
because I'm not a pussy, and it's
Yeah.
like, dude,
bro, you pull sumo? Well, you pussy.
it's just like, man, could you come up with like a better argument? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But anyway, next question.
Last one here. Hold up.
And we're actually under 3 hours for once.
Thank God. I love you, but too much. This is a good one. Last question from Kelsey. Do you know when or why bench only became an option for competitors as opposed to a squat or deadlift only event?
Yeah, we talked about this one a bit beforehand.
Yeah.
And we believe it actually came from the integration of powerlifting into the Special Olympics or Special Olympic sport.
Yeah.
We're not 100% sure on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe someone out there could
Well, I know.
clarify.
Yeah, I know. It wouldn't be Special Olympics. It'd be Paralympics, because Special Olympics is still 3 lift.
Is it still
Yeah,
free lift?
Paralympics is when you have that special bench,
Oh,
that really big one where you have
you're
to
correct.
you have to
You, like, there's a seatbelt?
seatbelt in.
Yeah.
That's Paralympics, and that
Yeah.
is bench only. But also I think they used. I don't know when that started. Are you looking it up?
No.
Oh, you're just scrolling on your phone.
Yeah, I'm just on Instagram right now. I'm just kidding.
If you look at it, like everyone always, I think the most familiar exercise on the planet is bench press. You know what I mean? It's the most universal
I would
thing
say so.
people talk about.
Yeah, how much you bench, bro?
How much you bench, bro? Exactly that. So I think that's another reason why, just like popularity wise.
Yeah.
But then I've also heard, I've talked to what's his name? Oh my goodness, he was our coach, North Americans.
Oh, Rob King.
I've talked to Rob King, and he said, like, as you get older, it's harder and harder to squat sometimes because he's had knee replacements and hip replacements and all that.
Yeah.
Whereas bench press, it's still relatively low stress on your body, so you can still push that relatively hard as you get older.
Yep.
So that would be another reason why. But that doesn't mean to say there aren't any. There are push-pull events in the States.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's in the USAPL where it is an actual sanctioned push-pull.
Yep.
I could be wrong though. I've seen it though on open powerlifting.
Yep.
And then I have also seen some squat, bench, and deadlift only events as well, but I don't know if they're sanctioned. I couldn't tell you.
But yeah. Well, I think that was it. Hey,
That's about it for questions. Yeah.
Well, probably just wrap her up there.
That was good. Yeah.
For today. Thanks so much, folks, for joining us on the Aches, Pains, and Gains podcast. You can find us on Instagram at ThomasJohnston_BCB. Danny, where are you at again?
Bro, I'm at Heinz_BCB
On Instagram.
on Instagram.
You can head
or
you
you can go to Bridge City Barbell YXC
on Instagram.
on Instagram as well.
And you can type in bridgecitybarbell.com for any coaching inquiries or coaching needs. If you made it this far, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the episode, please, like, rate, whatever, subscribe wherever you are, whatever platform you're on. I believe Spotify has comments as well now.
Do they?
There's a Q&A section on each episode in the description area.
No way.
Yeah, I'm learning this kind of
That's
now.
sweet.
So yeah, if you have anything to say, if you want to say anything to us or about the podcast or maybe future Q&A questions, because I think we'll do this again.
Oh yeah, I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Gets a little interaction with the fan base. All 12 of them.
All 12. Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, we'll probably do that again in the future. And if you could share the podcast on Instagram and stuff like that too, it's that could be immensely helpful. Help get this thing in more people's ears. We don't plan on stopping anytime soon here, so that'll be greatly appreciated. Anything else there, co-host?
That's all I got, man.
All right, that's it for now. Peace.